Felipe, do you save each hour right when the hour's done? Cut the commercials, save it. Is that the first thing you do at that break?
Yes.
I mean, you get it to the network, and then during the 6 minutes or whatever, cut out all the crap.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have to do that.
No. But that's, and then do you put it up right then?
Well, here's the thing. I don't put it up. I make it private because I don't like putting it up public without a description because I write all the descriptions afterwards. So I essentially queue it up and then post them all, like right when the show's over.
Dalton Miller up early this morning.
Yeah.
Do you follow him on Twitter?
I don't think so.
I mean, he's a good Cowboy source, but he also is into, he puts a lot of his own weightlifting stuff on Twitter, which I find interesting.
All right, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Thursday, where we're a little more than 72 hours out from Super Bowl 57. And as of now, we have 9 hours left in a trade deadline that has over-delivered. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great, David. It's been a heck of a night. Holy cow. These execs working long hours in the NBA.
I think the association has stumbled upon something. Super Bowl week. That's their week.
They've owned it.
Owned it. And if you think about it, America has figured out the whole conference championship games are over. In 2 weeks, we're going to have the Super Bowl. We don't need any of the hype. Okay, eventually we get around to planning, are we going somewhere for the Super Bowl? Are we having people over for the Super Bowl? And, hey, did you give Tony the $20 and get in on the Super Bowl squares? What are our numbers? I mean, does it take 2 weeks to do any of that? I mean,
No.
What does that take? A couple of emails, a text. I mean, did you run into somebody at work? We can take care of what we need to take care of. NBA says, tell you what we're going to do. All right. We're going to have a trade deadline. When? Super Bowl week. Ain't nothing going on that week. Pay them back for taking Christmas away from us, those rat blankety blanks. Yeah.
What a week for the association. I mean, obviously, you're not going to have LeBron passing the scoring record every time, but you don't need it if you have a trade deadline.
Well, in a trade deadline that over-delivers. And there's still time. There's still time. There are all-star players out there who reportedly are still on the block. All right. Nice. And I'll tell you what, Mark, whether you're really into the nitty-gritty of the association like young Felipe, or whether or not you're just a casual sports fan, what do we got? We got teams that are going for it. That's what we got. How is that a bad thing?
It's not. It's not at all. I mean, here we had one trade going on around, about halftime of the Heat game and halftime of Celtics. We've got the Lakers trade going on.
Right. Right, which was a nice trade. It's a solid trade. It's a 3-teamer. You got like 8 players. You got like 5 draft picks. All right, bada bing, bada boom. There's some guys making deals for now. Some guys making deals for tomorrow. Some guys making deals for a week from tomorrow. Okay, that makes sense. Plus, you got the Lakers involved. So, okay, this is solid. It's a good start to the night.
Yeah. And then kaboom.
Bang! From way downtown. Kevin Durant, a Phoenix Sun. What was it? A little more than 24 hours, 48 hours after Kyrie Irving became a Dallas Maverick. You know, it's as if the Brooklyn Nets were listening to Miller and Moulton, or Dallas and Phoenix were listening to Miller and Moulton saying, listen, if you're in the Western Conference, have you taken a look at the standings? I mean, if you put a little 3-game winning streak together, you can go from like 12th to 6th. And I mean, outside of the Denver Nuggets, I mean, seriously? The Denver Nuggets? Oh, I can't make a deal. We can't catch Denver. Denver? This isn't the Colorado Avalanche here. All right? This isn't John Elway's Broncos. It's the Denver Nuggets. Please. And so the teams are going, you know what? This whole Western Conference thing, this sucker's wide open. Why don't we get some really good players, all-stars even, from the East, bring them to the West, and see what can happen?
How about the haul? So, Suns receive Kevin Durant and TJ Warren. Nets get Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and 4 first-round picks.
Here's the problem, though. If Phoenix is going to be really good for the next 3, 4, 5 years, those first-round picks are all going to be like between 24 and 30.
Throwing a pick swap in there as well.
But see, I don't understand the whole pick swap. So let me get this straight, Mark. You're really good. I'm not. But I have the rights to a pick swap. Well, why am I going to swap picks?
Thank you.
My pick's in the top 10, your pick's in the bottom 10. So to me, that's one of those things, it looks good on paper. 4 first-round picks and a pick swap. That's great.
By 29, that might be a good pick.
I was going to say, just
maybe 27.
Yeah. And by the
way,
way,
first 2 aren't going to be worth anything. I mean, the first-round picks, you can get lucky. I get all of that. But they should be bottom 3rd picks.
I will say this. Okay, Felipe, if you were Matt Ishby, he's the new billionaire owner of the Phoenix Suns. I mean, do you sell now? Are you a legend? You've had the team 2 days. That's it. I can't do any more.
No, yes, he can. No, because what he just did gives this team a shot at a title.
For the next few years.
Right.
By the way, Mark, quick question. I'm pretty sure you know the answer. And by pretty sure, I know you know the answer. Mark, how many NBA titles do the Phoenix Suns have?
0.
So what you're saying is if they could win 1.
And they're the team. Make no mistake. I'm sure the Arizona Cardinals have a great following in and around the Phoenix area, but the Suns were first.
For a long time.
That's their team.
Yes. The Valley of the Suns.
And they've been to the finals in 3 different eras of basketball. The pre-ABA Joyner era, the Jordan era, and the modern era.
Correct.
And they've lost all 3 times.
In 6.
Yes.
All 3 times.
To green teams.
And the other side of it is, who right now are the Phoenix Suns' biggest rival?
Well, no, wait.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dallas. And I mean, that's the other section of this. Where did Kyrie just go?
Dallas.
And Kevin Durant's now where?
Phoenix.
In Phoenix. Thank you.
Valuable drop in, Felipe.
It's where he learns one's enough.
Well, the second one's okay. All right. Just don't.
One for Kyrie, one for KD,
Right. You don't want to throw 3 fastballs in the same spot and think the third one's going to get through.
I'm pretty sure the second one's still traveling.
First one was a called strike. Second one got fouled back. All right. Third one's going to get hit out of the park. Need to come back with the slider just off the plate. So that's for all of you excited about pitchers and catchers reporting next week. Just a little dash there.
Right. That's where they play catch for a couple of days before the rest of the players show up.
And then they run around in the outfield while games are being played. It's cute. It
Still
really
my
is.
favorite part about spring training.
It really is. But I'll tell you what. We put the NBA on the shelf. We Heismaned the NBA for the first 3 months of the season. And we took it off the shelf and really started talking about it. Turned out the right time. It's smart business by the NBA. Just do whatever you're doing through the conference championship games. And then once they're done, you know what? Get to work. Get to work. Conduct some business. Yeah.
So the NBA went nuts yesterday.
Yeah.
And the Phoenix Suns now look as if are they the front runner, obviously, with Kevin Durant?
I mean, out of the West, I wouldn't say the league.
No, out of the West.
Out of the West, maybe.
And this is a chance. I mean, Durant needs to deliver a title. That's a guy whose post-playing reputation, legacy, desperately needs to win a championship away from Golden State. Because his 2 rings with the Warriors are viewed about as well as Barry Switzer's Super Bowl title with the Cowboys.
That's a great comparison, David.
I don't even know who that is.
Exactly. Most people believe Jimmy Johnson won all 3 Super Bowl championships with the Cowboys.
Now I know who that is.
So that's what Kevin Durant's got riding, Mark. He's got the rest of this year and 3 more under contract. He'll have Chris Paul, maybe, for like 2 or 3 of these runs. And Booker and Ayton in the Valley of the Sun. Need a championship, young man. You need a championship.
Think about it. He gets traded to where the Super Bowl is right now, where all the media are. I mean,
I know.
Everything about this is so perfect for the NBA. And you've got to think somewhere, Roger Goodell, who wants to own every day, every media event, every bit of the television time has to be ticked off, because the only thing we heard from him yesterday is officiating is better than it's ever been.
Ever. Never been better. Never been better. Listen, okay? Listen to me, not your lion eyes, okay? You listen to me. I'm the authority around here. I'm the sheriff. I'm the hammer. I'm Raj. And what I say goes. You ask the questions. By the way, we have a great record on diversity, and our officiating has never been better. Huh? Refute that.
I mean, not with facts or anything, but just...
No. Because I said so. That's why.
That's news in this era. If I say it, it's true.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I just got another text from Jerry Jones. Is that what he wants me to talk about? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. My burner phones. Bob Kraft wants me to mention. Okay, I got my talking points. All right, I'm ready for your questions. No?
Wow.
Well,
That's the right and the left right there.
hey, give the hammer.
Might have been a double bang all by itself. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Back with more in a moment right here on the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Was John Starks a 1 or a 2?
2.
Yeah, that's because their 1 was Mark Jackson.
For a while.
Yeah.
Then when they went in 93, which was probably their best team, it was Doc Rivers. And then Derek Harper in 94, because Rivers blew out his knee and they had to go get a point guard.
But yeah, man, go Raiders. It's Jalen Brunson guy. Probably the best Knicks guard since that. Or since Linsanity.
Allen Houston played with the Knicks for a good while.
Yeah, that's true. He was cold-blooded.
I didn't see. I just saw the story in the Post. Did you see the fight between the Lightning fan and the Panthers mascot?
I haven't seen it, but I saw something. David Dwork actually tweeted about it sometime Tuesday, saying, "Yeah, I heard about this, and there's video." And so it was who and what?
A Lightning fan fought the Panthers mascot.
Right. And I thought Dwork was saying something about the Panthers mascot was being investigated. But that he said no one was arrested, I thought he tweeted.
And this wasn't like a stage thing for like the screen. Oh no.
Felipe, if you want a ref, I've got you hooked up.
Really?
Yeah, I have a friend who is a referee in Naples. There's two organizations. There's the Naples Referees Organization. There's a Lee County one. You'd probably be doing like YMCA games and 9th grade games to start, but they need refs.
Okay.
And he made a great point. He says, one thing, if you're coaching little kids, you're never quit. You got parents you're dealing with. You got the next game. You got all these things. When you're reffing, he goes, an hour after the game, even if you made a bad call, you've forgotten about it and you've moved on.
There's less emotional attachment to it.
And apparently, like, even if, you leave here and go to Miami in 5 years, once you're a ref in the state of Florida, you're a ref in the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm. Anthony Mason, rest in peace. He passed away, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He was an all-star for the Heat 1 year.
Other breaking news there, David.
Wow. It's news to me.
What? Yep. In those 16 games, they went 13-3. They won one playoff series together. Only one that they all played healthy.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We will talk plenty of football on the show today. Dalton Miller from Pro Football Network next hour. Matt Moscona. Apparently Derek Carr and the Saints are being linked together. We'll talk to Matt, who got a promotion yesterday. We'll congratulate him on that and talk to him in our 8 o'clock hour. Roger Goodell with the State of the League address yesterday. But really, I mean, between now and, Sunday at 6:30, I mean, what the heck's going to happen? But what is happening is in the association where, Mark, we have to mourn the passing of one of the legendary big threes. Kind of like Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman. Before that, it was Jordan, Pippen, and Horace Grant. Kind of like Larry, and Robert, and McHale. Like Troy, Michael, and Emmett. I mean, legendary triplets. KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. What a legacy that those three had. The likes of which we will probably never see again. They played 16 games together, Mark, in Brooklyn. 16 games together in Brooklyn. 16 games. Mm-hmm. I mean, just like Vasilevsky, Hedman, Stamkos, legendary triplets, Mark.
Wow, that's a legendary triplets in Tampa Lightning circles. That's a stretch.
Well,
anywhere beyond that, but
they're all Hall of Famers. They're all going to be Hall of Famers.
I gotcha.
I mean, Sapp, Brooks, and Lynch. Each layer of the Super Bowl champion defense, all Hall of Famers.
Bacon, lettuce, tomato.
Right.
Tell you what, that big three was one of the greatest NBA 2K teams of all time because they're always healthy in video games.
That's sports of the modern era right there. But it's a dark day, Mark.
The funny thing is that all this happened and Brooklyn put that together. Nothing ever happened. Now the Nets can go right back to being what they were.
Apparently, an NBA franchise in the New York metropolitan area, I guess,
on the witness protection program.
Right. So, funny thing is, they've actually got a bunch of pretty good players. I mean, in theory, they could be a pretty good team. I mean, they can't win anything, but that's okay. The team that's playing a couple boroughs away from them hasn't won anything in 50 years. So, what the heck?
Brooklyn's in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. That franchise is over for a while. You can take that franchise, you can put it on the shelf.
The only thing right now is that if TNT or ESPN had planned on doing Brooklyn Nets games that they already had penned in, they've got to figure out how to substitute those games for other games. That's the biggest thing that's happening in Brooklyn Net circles right now, is inside the programming departments at ESPN and at TNT, they're having some high-level meetings to figure out how the hell they get the Brooklyn Nets off their schedule for the rest of the season.
And the people who work in their marketing and ticket departments, okay, are very sad. Very sad. Because it's going to be hard.
The ticket scalpers who bought season tickets thinking that they could get a nice return on their investment, they're not doing well today.
I don't even think they did top 10 in attendance with Kevin Durant.
No.
Imagine now.
There are certain franchises out there that really don't have much of a fan base, even when they're winning. That's one of them. And they didn't really have it in New Jersey either. But so obviously I did that tongue in cheek. But I thought you'd have some fun with it. One of the legendary big threes put together.
Yes.
But it is also a cautionary tale, right? I mean, we're going to have many teams who continue to load up. And they go up and they get this guy, and they get this guy, and they get this guy. And it's like, oh, man, look at them. And then somebody is going to say, yeah, but remember the Brooklyn Nets? They put Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden together, and look what happened.
I think your first point last segment's the big one, though. Kevin Durant's got 2 or 3 years here to win a title.
Yes.
Or else.
Or, I mean, Hall of Famer and great player.
Yeah, I got you. But he will be, I mean, he obviously doesn't have very thick skin.
What made you come to that conclusion?
And the people who like to give it to Kevin Durant are if they lose in the first, second round of the playoffs, it's all going to come on who? Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
And there's part of me, the real cynical part of me that's now become, I told Felipe before the show, well, you wanted me to like Luka. This may have done it. This may have done it.
So you mean now there are enough villains around him that you may go back to, the enemy of the enemy is my friend?
Yes.
Not that, many people besides Felipe care, but, Chris Paul needs to win a ring also. I mean, great player and all that, but if he doesn't want to end up on that John Stockton, Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing list, I mean, Charles Barkley, I mean, now you got Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, you're a point guard. I mean, if you can't win a title, I mean, dude, no offense, we're going to debate your greatness for whatever that's worth.
But at the end of the day, the association having a terrific week, taking the NFL and slapping them around during Super Bowl week for media attention.
Yeah, I didn't realize all these NHL people started working in the NBA. I mean, this is how it's supposed to be.
NHL offices right now. Should we move our trade deadline to Super Bowl week?
I was going to say Major League Baseball's thinking, man, we got to take a look at some dates. If you're Major League Baseball, do you make your big free agency week Super Bowl week? There's nothing going on that week. Just Where'd the NFL announce where their Super Bowls are? That's where we're going to have our meetings. All the deals have to take place there. Where are they going to be next year? Vegas? Okay, first week of February, Vegas it is. It's where we're conducting all our business.
I mean, Raj lying to us on stage, Michael Irvin getting thrown out of the Super Bowl are the two biggest stories of Super Bowl week so far.
I can't believe, Mark, you would accuse Roger Goodell of lying.
I'm sorry. Roger Goodell gave the State of the League address in which he said officiating's never been better.
Well, he also said that he's proud of the league's record on diversity, which, of course, had everybody looking around going, who's this guy work for?
Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones?
He looks an awful lot like the commissioner of the NFL. But what league is he talking about? Is he talking about the XFL, the USFL? What is he talking about? So that's what we had going on yesterday. And we got a golf tournament in Phoenix, too, in which actually people we've heard of are playing in it. Wow.
You know, you got to get there at like 3 a.m. just to get to the par 3. I mean, they're lined up that early.
Really?
Yeah. They're lined up that early to get there.
That's a little crazy.
All day drunk like none others. The starting 5. That's next. Thanks for getting up with us, Miller and Moulton, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Cart, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Just had a calamity in the house, Mark.
Uh-oh.
Wife's so asleep on her feet. Because we have 4 TVs, one in each bedroom and one in the living room. And wife brought her clicker from her room out into the living room.
And it wouldn't work.
And then the living room TV wouldn't work. So she's taking apart the clicker, or trying to, and thinks we have to change the batteries and the whole deal. I was looking around and I'm like, why are there 2 clickers here? So I picked the other one up and turned it on, handed it to her, said, give me that. I looked right at her and I said, and you're going to be taking care of our grandchild later today. I don't know if that's in the best interest of the grandchild. And that went over big.
Yeah, it was a good line.
Sometimes you have to weigh the grief you're going to get with the quality of the line. And in most cases, I go with the line. I got to be honest.
Yeah, you and me both.
If you can't amuse yourself, I
did it. My daughter, we got to tell her yesterday we had to have our meeting at the school to officially get into the gifted program. And so Maddie was just, and she wanted me to ask, I said, wait till you get home. 3 of us are going to talk about it together. And I sat there and I looked at her. I said, Maddie, we went to school today. Well, I got to tell you. Then I told her she got in, and she was so pissed at me because I played it like she didn't get in for 30 seconds. Right. Used myself. Got a better reaction out of her.
Honey, life is hard. And sometimes there are disappointments. But it's how you handle those disappointments.
So I go into the meeting. There's the school resource person that's got to be in the meeting or whatever, and then the gifted teacher. Well, school resource person was cool as hell. She was very good looking, and she was young. And so we walk out, and she goes, and because my wife was on the phone, and I was there. And so she walks me back out, and we're talking. She goes, "You work from home?" I said, "I'm actually already done." I get one of those looks like, "You what? What do you do?" And I told her, she's, "Oh, so you talking about LeBron today?" Bunch of earrings, nose ring. It's pretty attractive. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like a little bit of Super Bowl, a little bit of LeBron. I was born and raised in Chicago. My parents had season tickets. I go, you're not old enough to know who Michael Jordan is. She goes, I'm older than I look. It's okay. But she was a teenager going to Bulls games. And she was like, what station are you on? I'm like, so we may have added a female listener yesterday.
Nice. Wow. If Felipe wasn't already attached, first thing I was thinking is, hey, I have a young man I need to introduce you to.
I've never thought that for Felipe. Oh, God.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Dalton Miller, Pro Football Network, will join us 1 hour from now. I don't know if you're aware, but it's Super Bowl 57 week. Yep, there's one more football game. I know. It seems like we haven't had a football game in forever. It's going to be a hell of an offseason, isn't it? We'll do it together. We will do it together. Matt Moscona, already looking ahead. That's what you do when you're working in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. You're already looking ahead. He will join us 2 hours from now because they may have themselves a replacement for Drew Brees. Of course, it's a couple years too late, but we'll get to that with Matt coming up in a couple hours. A few things happened since you went to bed and got up this morning. If you're unaware, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
You were probably aware last night that the Lakers, the T-Wolves, and the Utah Jazz got together. A little 8-player, 3 draft pick deal. It was cute. Okay, it was. Maybe even a little bit bigger than cute. D'Angelo Russell and a couple of other good players end up going to the Lakers. Believe it or not, Lakers roster's not bad. If they could get their act together in about 24 games, they might be decent. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves get Mike Conley, another player, and some picks. Utah gets Russell Westbrook, 2 additional players, and the Lakers 2027 first-round draft pick, which, if you look at LeBron's timeline and what have you, that they might not be good in 2026. So that pick could be pretty high. So that was a good, solid trade. Ha, 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 ha. The Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns said, yeah, I got your good, solid trade right here.
Yeah, that was halftime of the first game. That got us through, a little before that. That got us through the early games.
I mean, that maybe is an appetizer. Honestly, if that cleansed your palate, how about Kevin Durant to the Suns for Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 first-round picks and a pick swap? Got traded for 8 guys. And yet everybody thinks Phoenix won the deal. That's how hard it is to get equal value for a great player. I will say, it appears, Mark, as if the Nets catered to KD a little bit. Because you can't convince me, and Felipe, pays attention closer than most of us who are listening combined. But there were a couple teams out there, like, you can't tell me New Orleans couldn't have put together a better package than this. If for no other reason, Mark, that New Orleans has picks from teams that are going to be really good picks here in the next year or two, where all these draft picks that we talked about, well, if Phoenix is contending for the title for the next 3-4 seasons, how good are these picks?
Well, Kevin Durant's expensive also.
Who cares? No, honestly, because it's not a hard cap. It's not. It's softer than the NFL cap, Felipe. You can maneuver. You can pay taxes. This guy, the cap's not a big deal. Every now and then there's like, no. We can't make this deal because it doesn't fit in the cap. But you've got trade exceptions and exemptions, and you got the cap. Then you got the tax bracket. Then it ain't the NHL. The NHL is a hard, no excuse given cap. Not a dollar. Who cares? Kevin Durant's expensive. Guy just paid $4 billion for the team. Like, he cares how much Kevin Durant costs. But anyway, that's the deal. And what an era it was in Brooklyn.
We'll talk about this era in Brooklyn for years. Every time a big three is put together and fails miserably, we'll see if it was as bad as the big three that Brooklyn put together with Kyrie, KD, and Harden.
They played 16 games together.
I don't think it will ever be replicated.
KD and Kyrie played 74 games together in 3.5 years, by the way. Yeah, okay, KD was out an entire season with injury. So in 2.5 years, they played 74 games together. Mm-hmm. They won 1 playoff series, by the way, during this era. Boy, there's going to be 30 for 30s made about this. They played some NBA basketball last night. Last games before the deadline at 3 o'clock today. Heat struggled, but held off the Pacers 116-111. They did not cover, however. The line was 6. Celtics beat the Sixers 106-99. I got to be honest, this would be a fun playoff series. Second round, conference final, something like that. This would be fun. You get the fans from the teams who, will try to recreate the past as if it's the 80s. You know when Boston had a big three, Mark.
Right.
Parrish, McHale, Bird. Ever hear of them?
And the Sixers had a big 7.
Well, they also had the Boston Strangler. Remember when we talked to Andrew Toney with Felipe? All right. Those were the days. Minnesota beat Utah by 25, which is funny because those two teams were involved in the deal and a whole bunch of guys were traded and sitting there in street clothes because they had to go to the wrong locker rooms. Cleveland beat Detroit by 28. Kyrie with 24. Mavs led from start to finish, beat the Clippers in LA 110-104. And Golden State was on the road, so you know what that meant.
That's a loss.
Portland beat them 125-122. Blazers traded Josh Hart to the Knicks for Cam Reddish and a first-round pick. I actually think that's a good deal for the Knicks. And it reunites Hart with Jalen Brunson. Remember, those two played together for a couple years at Villanova. We said Florida needed a big win.
Right.
And that...
What an opportunity they had.
They really did in Tuscaloosa last night against the third-ranked Crimson Tide of Alabama. Mark, they trailed 52-23 at the half. 52-23.
Alabama must have let everybody know in their locker room that this is a big game for Florida. They're going to come out hard. You better be ready for what the Gators have. And the Gators, on the other hand, said, I'd rather play in the NIT. And there's not one anymore.
Tua and those wide receivers, they really exploited that Gator secondary last night. 97-69 was the final.
Wow.
Sixth-ranked Tennessee was a 10-point favorite at Vandy. They had beaten the Commodores 11 straight times. Vandy hit a 3 at the buzzer and beat them 66-65.
After a clanked free throw late.
Second loss in a week in the SEC for Tennessee. And we wondered, why was 11th ranked Iowa State in Morgantown, West Virginia, against the second to last place team in the Big 12, West Virginia? Why were the Cyclones a 3.5-point underdog? It's because West Virginia scored the final 6 points of the game and beat them 76-71 for a win and a cover. Syracuse beat Florida State 76-67. Jim Boeheim still the coach of Syracuse until he wants to step down.
And he let everybody know that last week.
Although he tried to spin it a couple days ago and said, listen, I'm working in conjunction with the university. In all seriousness, if you're Syracuse, don't you think it's time to pull a Bobby Bowden? Don't you think it's time to name Jerry McNamara coach in waiting and to put a shelf life on Jimmy B?
Well, if you don't, because Boeheim doesn't care anymore. I mean, he backtracked what he said, but he also said Wake Forest is cheating.
Well, he said Pitt, Wake,
Miami.
And Miami. Right. Just Miami bought a team, Pitt bought a team, Wake bought a team. Steve Forbes held the press conference in which he said, I can assure you, we haven't spent $1 on NIL with anybody on this team. He goes, I don't know about Pitt and Miami, but there must be a different Wake Forest that I don't know about. Jeff Capel, by the way, said no comment. All right. Steve Forbes was cracking jokes. No, it's Boeheim and I talked. I love the guy. Okay. Jeff Capel, no comment. UCF beat Wichita State 72-67. South Florida got beat by Memphis at home by 18 last night, 99-81. That's never good. See, when that happens at home, the AD can be there watching. It's not good, especially when this is supposed to be a big year for you, Brian Gregory, and the AD didn't hire you. So I'm just saying, not good. Not good. Women's basketball, it probably would have been good if I filled in this score. Because UConn was losing late to Marquette. So
lost.
So there you go, 59-52. So there.
What, it's like the first time they've lost 2 in a row, and since first time they've lost 2 straight games since 1993.
The early days. Well, what month?
Oh, you're killing me.
Well, only because it's possible that was still the George Herbert Walker Bush administration. If it was before January 20th, it probably was after that. It probably was the early days of the Clinton administration, but still, put it this way. It's pre-Newt Gingrich as Speaker of the House.
Well, it's also BF before Philly.
That's right. FGCU beat Stetson by 42 last night. They're on a roll. They've won their last 3 games, all in state, by a combined 140 points.
Give some of those points to the men's team. They need them.
They do, and they're in action tonight. UCF beat Cincinnati 60-57 in women's action. Only 2 hockey games last night. Rangers beat Vancouver 4-3, Dallas over Minnesota 4-1. There was some coaching news yesterday. First off, the Dolphins hired an offensive line coach, Butch Berry. He was the offensive line coach with the Broncos last year. Broncos players took to social media to say, this guy was terrible. He was a joke. We laughed at him. Can't believe he got another job. That doesn't happen very often in the National Football League. So, Dolphin, let's see how this works out. And Mike Norvell got a contract extension through 2029. The Florida State football coach is now making $8.05 million. I believe second in the ACC to Dabo. Roger Goodell said the NFL officiating's never been better. Head of the NFLPA, DeMaurice Smith, wants to eliminate the NFL Combine. That's after Troy Vincent, who's second in command in the NFL, referred to the Combine as a slave auction at NFL meetings in December. Brock Purdy's surgery will be in 2 weeks. Remember, do the math, how long he's going to be out. Now, don't know if Brock Purdy will even be healthy for opening day. And the Washington Commanders say Sam Howell is going to be their number 1 quarterback next year. The 5th-round pick out of North Carolina, who was their 3rd string but started the final game of the year. And that, gentleman, was...
That was the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
That's right. Troy Vincent called the Combine a slave auction, and DeMaurice Smith said that we may do our own version of the Combine, and the players will have to choose which one they want to go to.
So one slave auction or the other? I don't know how. I think that's a laughable statement.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I don't even know if laughable is the right word.
No, it's absurd, ridiculous. Okay. Actually, maybe should have been fired type of
offensive statement would be
although it was said behind closed doors, but a few people were so offended they made sure that they got out publicly.
Wow.
So how about that? What if there's a movement to eliminate the Combine?
Or to have 2?
What's the NFL Network going to do for programming?
Miller and Moulton. Right here, Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this
Wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Just perusing Twitter. Pro Football Network put this out yesterday because the timelines don't matter anymore. Did you see what Michael Thomas's cap hit is for 2024?
Isn't it like 50 million or something ridiculous?
59.4 million.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday, as it's Super Bowl 57 week. It's also NBA trade deadline week. And it's lived up to a trade deadline. In fact, it's been so big that there are many of you who don't even care about the NBA. They're like, I'll be damned. Huh? Got some big deals going on here. Sounds kind of exciting. Maybe I should pay some attention. Maybe. Still too early. Let me know when the playoffs start. In fact, let me know when the second round of the playoffs start. But, it's right around May 1st. But I'll be there. I'll be ready. Nice 6-week season you guys got, May 1st to Father's Day. I'll be there. You think about it, Mark. I mean, if that's where the sports fan wants to kind of put the NBA season, second round of the playoffs, May 1st to, around mid-June, this way the NFL can get the Super Bowl. The guys who are going to get cut. All right. Then free agency, then the draft, get all that out of the way. And then boom, NBA season starts May 1st. Bang. I don't know why I turned into John Madden there.
I'm not sure either, but anytime you want to throw an extra bang into the show, we've got one on tape. We got one live, whatever we need to do around here.
Felipe, by the way, you remember Siskel and Ebert back in the day, 2 thumbs up. Felipe giving the Kevin Durant to Phoenix trade a double bang.
Bang! Bang! Oh, yeah.
There you go. So, that's his grade on the trade. 8-player deal. That's who Kevin Durant got traded for. 3 guys, 4 draft picks, and a pick swap. And everybody thinks Phoenix won the deal.
Right. And really not by a wide margin.
Well, are you one of those who's always adhered to the theory that the team that gets the best player wins the trade?
95% of the time, yes. I mean, there are exceptions.
So, because obviously, and then, Brooklyn got a couple of good players, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. They're good, solid players.
But league by league, it changes because, going way back when Herschel got traded for all the picks.
Right.
The NFL draft was a different animal. I mean, right now in the NBA, if you don't have a lottery pick, the thoughts are you're not going to get a great player. Get a good player. Hell, you might even get an all-star. You might find
right
a diamond in the rough. But to get a superstar, you need to be in the lottery. And you need to be in the lottery in the right year.
Mm-hmm.
So for Brooklyn, I mean, theoretically, this trade works for Brooklyn if somehow, some way in 2027 or 2029 or 2028, when they have the pick swap, that Phoenix is completely fallen apart and they're in the lottery and win it.
Correct.
That's how Brooklyn could at least have equal value, that they get their Kevin Durant 4, 5, 6 years from now. And that's a tough sell to a fan base. Hey, hold on for the rest of the decade. The odds are we'll be okay. We might even be pretty good a couple of times, but our chances of being great come in the 2030s.
Listen, I'm not kidding. They could now move that franchise to Seattle. I mean, they really could. They could move the Brooklyn franchise to Seattle. Because for whatever reason, the NBA is not moving very fast on this whole expansion thing. I mean, baseball's trying to move a lot faster than the NBA. And honestly, Mark, right now, and I know where Brooklyn is. I get it. I know how close it is to where the NBA league offices are. I get it. The whole media capital of the world, blah, 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 blah. All right. But the only reason this franchise got any attention, all right, was because they assembled the stars. Now that they've sent the stars packing, I mean, it's a nice arena. You know, I've been there. The restaurants around it, the food in the neighborhood's awesome. Oh, it's a good time. Really is. Wasn't a good hockey arena. Really nice. Great concert arena. Nice basketball arena. Feels intimate. All right. It's a good time. It's loud. All right. But the franchise can move to Seattle now. I mean, this franchise has no value anymore.
It's amazing how loyal fans can be. Because no one left the Knicks. Really and truly, not one fan left the Knicks. And there was, there's only been 50 years of reasons to leave as a Knicks fan. No, and I'm not, I actually give their fans a touch of credit and a dose of insanity all at the same time. Because they've stuck through. This is like a Cub fan before they finally won.
Well, and especially the last 20. Great ownership, franchise hasn't been embarrassed at all by its play or its owner.
Right.
Right.
Who had come out and said this week, I'm not selling.
No, I'd be willing to sell, the 10, 20% and just, put another $1 billion in my bank account. But no, I got to admit though, Mark, if you own the Knicks and the Rangers and the building that they played in, I don't know where do you start,
David? I get it. They have ego there. I couldn't sell all that fast enough because there's never been a time of which sports franchises and all of this has been worth more. And you don't know with streaming around the corner and how things are going, what a cable network might be worth 10 years from now. You just don't know.
Well, that's true. And he's got one of those too. By the way, speaking of which, the word is Daniel Snyder wants 7 billion. 7. Well, I don't know about you, but that seems to have Jeff Bezos written all over it.
Like he's already filling the checkout, if you know what I mean.
I was going to say, wait, boss. Yeah, apparently Mr. Snyder wants 7 billion. Does he want that in 50s or hundreds? How does he want that actually? Does he want that on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a Thursday? When does he want to do the deal? Tell him to check his schedule.
And raise the price Amazon Prime.
And just make sure the day after the deal goes through, it's Commander Day. So that's apparently what Snyder's asking for. Remember, the Broncos got 4.65. Snyder wants 7. This just in, there's 32 of those suckers. They don't come on the market very often. If you've got the cash, which is a big if, but seriously, the other owners who apparently don't want Bezos, for whatever reason, they don't want him. But if he's going to pay 7, do you know what that's going to do to all their franchise values?
Oh, absolutely. He's their new best friend. They went from not wanting him to loving him. Jeff Buddy.
Hey. Listen, here's the deal. Okay, and I know that we're all, well-to-do here. We'll say yes under one condition. We all get 10 years of Amazon Prime free. Yeah. My wife is killing me on all the business she's doing with you. I need it free, buddy. What do you say? Figure it out. All right. We each get 5 phone numbers and email addresses. Okay. That's it. Work it in the deal. So just a little side note. Oh, by the way, Daniel Snyder came up with an asking price. It's 7. Which makes you ask the question, what would the Cowboys be worth?
Well, Washington's always been a highly valued franchise, too.
Yes. Yes. in league circles, and when Forbes does its listing and all that, it's in the top 25% of the league. It's in the top 8. Sometimes even in the top 5 in terms of value. 7. Well, the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Mercury, didn't he pay 4? Was it 3 or 4?
I thought it was 3.
Okay. Well, I mean, Ballmer paid a little over 2.
Right. He paid 2.5.
And now, this guy's paying at least 3. I mean, come on. Phoenix Suns, Washington Commanders.
Oh, no.
NFL franchise. We're double an NBA franchise?
It's got to be.
So
it's got to be.
Just a little sidebar there as to, because we know somebody listening right now in Port Royal or whatever is, going to call their financial advisor and say, hey, got the number for Snyder? Just remember, Mark Miller, all right, he will suck up. Isn't that right, Mr. Khan, if you're listening? Okay.
Absolutely.
There's your guy.
All the owners that are within the sound of my voice. Whatever you need, sir.
So there you have it. Is he a superstar or a star? Kevin Durant, superstar or star? I say star.
No, he's a superstar.
In basketball, he is.
He's a Twitter superstar. I'll tell you that.
I think he might be because of the social media side of it.
Okay.
He's one of the greatest social media athletes of all time. I'll say that. Most active.
Well, and Felipe, and this is an honest question, and believe me, those in the business world and media world have been talking about this now for a generation. Can you monetize, the social media aspect of your business and of your life? If you can, that makes you, I think, a superstar. If you can't, that makes you a star. And also, to me, here's, was it Colin Cowherd, Mark, that we quoted many years ago as saying the superstar test is if your mom knows who they are. That you can be a star, but a superstar test is when your mom, is talking about so-and-so. Then that's a superstar.
Right. Steph Curry passes that test.
Absolutely.
Right. And I don't know if Durant, it's it's really close.
Yeah, it's
really close.
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
But I think he is.
Okay. Fair enough. I would go, I would just nominate that question and sit in the back of the room and be willing to go with however the room voted. Miller and Moulton. Dalton Miller in 25 minutes.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just worked with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It's funny because I think one of the ways that Kevin Durant does pass the mom test is because of his mom.
Yeah, I don't think that moms know about his mom.
Well, this was
I understand that what his mom is.
2014.
I've watched the stories. He's done a lot of great things back home, and he's done them with his mom, and I get all those things. That doesn't, because you know it, Philly, doesn't mean, and your mom may know who he is because you probably talk about the NBA incessantly in front of her.
I do.
If I were to ask my mom who Kevin Durant was, she'd look at me cross-eyed.
Well, I know, but I say one of because in 2014 when he gave that speech, with his mom crying, I'm sure the news outlets had a field day with his MVP speech.
Oh,
the
news
MVP.
It doesn't make the news.
It was cute,
but it doesn't make. You're acting like it was on national news. I don't even remember the speech on ESPN.
Wanda.
All right. Oh, he's having breakfast. I've got prop stuff. It's National Pizza Day.
Good.
Little short segment here. Don't know what you want to do. Don't know if you've got anything.
Nope. I do have something for 8 o'clock, though.
Okay.
Or maybe 8:21. 8:21. How about that? Felipe, you ready?
Yeah.
Which one you going with?
Dandy. Bigger upset. Bigger game.
No, I that's when I saw the shot, it's a sick play. When you see the highlight, it's pretty ridiculous. They miss a free throw with 8 seconds, call timeout with 4, make a couple of passes, guys driving and kicks it, literally lets it go with 0.4 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean,
just
how they got that shot off is unreal.
Canada, I like pineapple on pizza too.
Is that Stackhouse, Bandy?
Yeah. Jerry Stackhouse, he's the head coach. And he hasn't been too great.
Well, that's not the easiest. He inherited a grease fire. Kevin Stallings had run Vandy somewhat into the ground, and then the guy they replaced him with absolutely buried the program. AD hired his buddy. Everybody said it was a bad fit, and it was. I'm not kidding about the O-line coach that the Dolphins hired yesterday. I've never seen anything like it, actually.
Like just players publicly bashing a coach.
Yeah. I mean, and saying he's a joke. We laughed at him in meetings.
Damn.
Reporters printed texts that they got from Broncos players mocking the guy.
Oh my God.
So, Bears watching.
Nice job, Miami.
Apparently, the Dolphins lost out on Munchak. Munchak's apparently got family on the West Coast, so he's going to the Rams, I think.
15 seconds. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. It is Super Bowl 57 week. Dalton Miller, Pro Football Network, will join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Matt Moscona will join us a little over an hour. There's actually a huge story in Louisiana. It's gotten a little bit of national attention, but it's a big to-do-ha about the naming of the court, and then they're going to take the guy's name off of it. But really, we booked Matt Moscona because apparently it looks like the Saints have the inside track on Derek Carr. So our buddy Matt Moscona will join us a little more in an hour, Mark.
And we'll find out if they actually can trade for him, if Derek Carr is just going to wait.
Yeah. Just wait to be cut. I don't understand why Carr wouldn't say to the Saints, okay, we've worked out a deal, right? Yeah, I'll just tell the Raiders no.
Just for fear he would renege on the deal and go somewhere else when he becomes a free agent. I mean, then he's offered by – that's the only fear that New Orleans would have.
How about you sign the contract, you put it in the drawer. You just don't date it. I know it's illegal, but come on. This is the real world we're talking about here. Like, that's never been done before. I mean, remember, the Houston TV guy reported Jimbo Fisher had done that in October of his last season in Florida State. He said, trust me, the contract's signed. It's in a drawer. It's done.
And he was right.
Yeah. So Dalton Miller, 15 minutes. Matt Moscona, a little more than an hour.
Got a few props. I started looking yesterday at some of the props. And, David, we were not that far off on some of these yardage things. These are actually football props.
Gotcha.
A.J. Brown, over under, 72.5 yards.
Ooh, over.
Over.
Patrick Mahomes, over under 290.5 passing yards.
Ooh, I'll go under.
That's a lot.
It's going to throw
over.
a lot.
He's going to get 300.
Will both teams score 25 or more points?
No. Most people are going to vote yes, though, is the word. Apparently, people are betting the over more than the under.
I want to see, and I've just got, this is more of a sheet to bring to a party, and I don't have odds on the other side of it because one of them's the highest scoring half. I'd have to think that it's like minus 200 on the second half, wouldn't you think?
It's funny. I think the Chiefs are going to have success early.
Okay.
I think Andy, by the way, comes out absolutely chucking the ball. That the Chiefs know we got to get a lead on these guys. We got to try to put as much pressure on that quarterback as possible, try to take as much of that running game away from them as we can. Getting a lead would help do that.
Jalen Hurts over under 48.5 rushing yards.
48.5. I'll go over.
Miles Sanders over under 58.5 rushing yards.
Depends. Who do you think's going to win? How do you think the game's going to go? You know why I'm betting over on Hurts? Because Spags is going to blitz the heck out of him, and I only need him to get away from the blitz one time. There could be 20 plus yards of real estate wide open if he can avoid a big blitz once.
His passing over under number for Hurts is 243.5.
So even if you think the Eagles are going to win, do you think it's because they're going to those wide receivers, or do you think it's because, Troy Aikman. His stats do not overwhelm you. But if you looked at the Cowboys during that dynastic run, he oftentimes threw for like 175 yards in the first half and 40 in the second. I just turned around and handed the ball to Emmett.
Devontae Smith's numbers 64 and a half receiving yards.
Well, let's see. If you're somebody like me and you went over on A.J. Brown, which was close to 80, and if you go over on Devontae Smith, well, now you're talking about $1.50 between the two. And what's Hurts's over under again? Like 2.25?
243.
243. I'd still go under. But man.
Goddard's over under, the tight end, is 46 and a half.
Good, go under.
I'd go under for what it's worth. Some of the Kansas City numbers, we already had Mahomes.
What's Kelsey?
78 and a half.
Ooh. What's his catches, by the way? I'm going to guess it's 6.5. Over under on how many catches? 78 and a half.
They don't have a catch one on here for him. Don't ask me why, but it's not on here.
Wow. I'd be interested in betting that. By the way, if it is 6.5, which way do you go?
Over.
Well, because he went over against the Jags, but didn't the Bengals hold him to 4? Man,
I'd go over.
Okay.
6.5. I'd probably go over the 78 and a half too. Here's one for you. Pacheco, over under 48 and a half rushing yards.
Over. I can tell you what, that's who I'd put money on for the first touchdown of the game. Like I saw the odds as to, because I think Kelsey's, number 1 and Jalen Hurts is number 2 in terms of odds as who will score the first touchdown of the game. And I think the Chiefs come out firing, catch the Eagles a little off guard, put some points on the board early, and I'm going with Pacheco, a flyer, first touchdown of the game.
Who are you taking for MVP, by the way? You've got you haven't given us a winner, but so I think that would kind of tell because you're still waffling. So I'll wait for your MVP and winner tomorrow.
Man, I'm an ego right now. I am a huge ego.
The only thing that's waffling me, David, is that every single person that I have talked to is picking the Eagles. I played golf yesterday. Kart room guy. Now, he's a Philly fan, but he thought they were going to blow him out. My Boston buddies think the Eagles are going to win. Everybody up there thinks the spread's not right. I'm just looking at all of them going, well, they're all retired, so I envy them. They're all retired and spending money, so I envy them even more. And they're all picking the Eagles. That scares the hell out of me. In a spread that's 1.5, I have not seen so many sides that are all into the Philadelphia Eagles.
Agreed.
Felipe, I ran late. Can you get this done in a hurry? Clutch Vodka, play of the day. What do you got?
Absolutely. Vanderbilt down 2, final seconds, hosting number 6 Tennessee, Tyron Lawrence from the corner.
Robbins has it. Here comes Mignon with a path. Outside to Lawrence for the win. Yes! He got it! He got it! Vanderbilt wins it!
Man, it was close. He released that ball with, I'm telling you, maybe 0.2 seconds left on the clock. Just gets it off in time and splashes it.
To kick that out from underneath the basket and get the shot off, it's our Clutch Vodka play of the day, the Vanderbilt Radio Network. Thank you for that call, Clutch Vodka. Clutch with a K. Check them out at clutchspirits.com and hashtag all your drinks on social media with the hashtag Clutch Spirits. Look for them wherever you buy your vodka.
That pod was clutch.
It's pretty clutch with a K.
It's a great call.
Yeah.
All that going on, coming off of a timeout, 4 seconds. It looked a little scrambly to get the win out in time. That's a good call.
Voice mostly held up. That's good.
Such a funky Jim. He scored that bucket because the benches are in the end zone, so it's right where the Vandy bench is. He scored it literally right in front of the bench, and they all come piling out of that corner with the floor that's raised and the benches that are sunk in the end at Vanderbilt. Great play of the day by Vanderbilt. Miller and Moulton. Dalton Miller is next. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Canada, I might just play that. The pick six on the first drive. First touchdown, Chiefs defense. Screw it. I wonder what the line is on that. First touchdown, Chiefs defense.
Oh, it'd be huge odds.
Oh my God, I'll bet that.
Why?
Why not? Put a few shekels on it.
Okay, first off, you don't have a few shekels to just randomly lose. So you got to put down $20 to even have a bet, to even make it worth your while. And 20 would probably get you back. Might even be 20 to 1. So might you get 400, but you're basically burning $20.
That's betting, is it not? Burning money?
Well, I think betting on stupid long odds things is burning money. What time did the Durant trade happen? Because it did not happen.
Like 1 a.m.
I was going to say, I was long in bed. I mean,
I was
watched,
asleep.
Okay, because I watched the Heat game and went to bed. And it hadn't happened yet.
Yeah. My phone starts blowing up and I get the nudge. And I'm like, you might want to see this. Holy. Oh. I had to resurrect myself. plus 3,000 for the Chiefs defense to have the first touchdown.
Do you know what's going to be key in this game? The Eagles throw a lot of wide receiver screens, and whether or not those get marked down as passes or runs, because some of them are very close.
What about Mahomes plus 3,000? Now, is that a rushing touchdown or?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like that one too.
Oh. Do we have Dalton?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Matt Moscona, 1 hour from now. Is Derek Carr going to the Saints? Remember, it's the worst division in football. Doesn't take much of an offseason to go from worst to first in the NFC South. We'll talk a little Derek Carr and the Saints, and also about a big in-state controversy, which may go national tomorrow, with Matt Moscona 1 hour from now. Meanwhile, Dalton Miller, kind enough to join us once again. He of Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. You can follow Dalton on Twitter at Dalton, the letter B, Miller, Dalton B. Miller. Dalton, it's David and Mark once again. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you?
I am fantastic, ready for the Super Bowl. The more film I watch on these two teams, the more intriguing this matchup gets to me.
Well, you know, Mark, Dalton, who's been up very early because we sent the tweets out for this show, you sent them out about 2 hours ago, and he retweeted it in 4 seconds. So we know he's been up early. And his first tweet of the day was getting more excited about the Super Bowl the more I dig into these two teams.
Well, and that's great news because the NBA's done a hell of a job of taking Super Bowl week by storm and getting their revenge for losing Christmas to the NFL. But what is it on film, Dalton, that is getting you so excited about this game?
I think, a lot of it is the unknown, because these are two teams that really haven't faced a team like one another this year. There have been bits and pieces of each thing these offenses and defenses do, but it's really kind of open to interpretation, because the Philadelphia Eagles have not faced an elite quarterback the way that they will with Patrick Mahomes, even on one foot. He is the best quarterback in the NFL. On the other side of things with the Chiefs, they really haven't faced any, really mobile quarterbacks. There was a little bit of it in the Texans game with Jeff Driscoll coming in and running a little bit of the option. But listen, Jeff Driscoll and the Houston Texans are not the Philadelphia Eagles. There's not that offensive line. That he is not as mobile as Jalen Hurts is. And so it's really interesting to see how these matchups are going to unfold. But I think what I'm most interested in is Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo against a team in the Philadelphia Eagles that I think has very few holes. I think that they're overall the better roster And they have a very good coaching staff as well. But you give Andy Reid, and particularly in this instance, Steve Spagnuolo, 2 weeks to get ready for this Philadelphia Eagles offensive attack. I am so excited to see what Spags has in his bag.
Well, usually his bag is to blitz. And the one time last year that they faced Hurts, and granted, he and they were very different, they blitzed nearly 20 times. I mean, Dalton, if you were the Eagles coaching staff, don't you think Spags half the time is gonna bring heat?
Yeah, it's really interesting because Steve has kind of gotten away from his blitzing habits. He did not blitz much at all this year. They were in too high more often than any team in the NFL. So things were a little bit different this year on that defense. But I do think against the Philadelphia Eagles in particular, you need to blitz. If we see one thing from Jalen Hurts, who was fantastic this year as a passer, he was top 5 in a lot of the efficiency metrics you look at, like the EPA per play, per dropback and stuff like that, when he was kept clean. But when he wasn't kept clean, he was in the bottom 3rd. So when you pressure him, when you actually are able to get pressure against him with this incredible offensive line, he's not as good of a passer as you would like to see somebody be. And that's just partially because he hasn't been around long enough to really build up that confidence against the rush. So he's still building that. I think if Spags really wants to affect the passing game, he's going to have to blitz. But I think bringing guys into the box, having, one more one high looks instead of the 2 high shells that he really likes to play with, and using simulated pressures as well, showing 5, 6, 7 guys at the line of scrimmage and then backing off and playing coverage helps you in a couple of ways, because the Philadelphia Eagles love to get their double teams at the line of scrimmage in their rushing attack. They are a downhill double team and climb type of rushing attack. If you put everybody at the line of scrimmage, it really forces them to get into more one-on-one looks. And listen, their offensive line is outstanding, so it's not like they can't go one-on-one. But they can really, really bully you when they're able to get to the second level. And so I think having some sim pressures, bringing guys, from the slot up and then backing them away, to muddle the read for the end man on line for, the read option. There's a lot of ways, a lot of movement pre and post snap that Spags can use this week to kind of trip up their rushing attack as well. So I'm really excited to see how it all ends up going.
Dalton, based on what you're talking about and the pressure that's going to be brought by Kansas City, what's more important on Sunday? Jalen Hurts' arm, Jalen Hurts' legs?
Oh, I think Jalen Hurts' legs are some of the, 2 most important things in the NFL outside of, looking at like Patrick Mahomes' entire package that he brings. His rushing ability, more than anything else, it adds a gap to the run game. And his rushing ability helps his passing ability as well, because you have teams that aren't able to run much zone coverage against them, because not only does he have the rushing ability, but you can't really run a lot of zone because they're just going to pick you apart with RPO passes at that point too. So it's going to be, his arm in this game, but it's really his legs that open everything up. But more than anything else, hitting 1 or 2 deep passes against these really young Kansas City corners is going to be huge. And we've seen a couple of teams. I know that the San Francisco 49ers did a really nice job with it. If you can help out, particularly on the right side of the offense, because that's where he really likes to attack deep, to that right side of the field. If they can stop those passes downfield, I think that this Chiefs defense has a really nice chance of being successful, at least in part, against this Philadelphia offense. They're going to get theirs, and Kansas City is also going to be able to score on this Philadelphia defense. But I think stopping the big explosive passing plays is going to be what puts Kansas City over the top.
He's Dalton Miller, lead analyst, Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Dalton, the letter B, Miller, Dalton B. Miller. You can follow Pro Football Network on Twitter at PFN365. You mentioned it earlier. The Eagles have not faced anything remotely close to a Mahomes this season. In fact, it's remarkable. In the division, they only faced Dak once. So you look at the quarterbacks they faced in the other 5 games, look at who they got in the Niners in the NFC title game, even, their schedule date. But their secondary, Dalton, is outstanding. I mean, they've got 2 cover corners. They got a nickel corner who graded out as one of the top 3 in the league. All right. I like their safeties a lot. I mean, if you're the Chiefs, Dalton, do you think you can line up and throw it for 300 yards against this secondary?
I mean, if you're the Chiefs, you think you can. And it's going to be really interesting. The Eagles were one of the best quarters coverage teams in the NFL this year. But I think they're going to run a lot of man against the Chiefs because when you run quarters, it kind of can leave you susceptible at the middle of the field. And it is still zone coverage, and running zone coverage against Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes is just, it's not going to work. He's going to be able to find the open hole in the zone. So we're going to see a lot of Darius Slay and James Bradbury one-on-ones on the outside, and they're going to bracket Travis Kelce a lot. I don't think they really have many other options because even with how talented this team is in the secondary, if you play zone coverage, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce will pick you apart. He'll get 12, 15 catches and have a 2 or 3 touchdown game if that's the case. So you need to bracket him. I think Patrick Mahomes being not hobbled, probably, he'll be medicated and maybe a little bit stiff, if anything, but he'll be pretty mobile in this game. I think that they have to just kind of, win those one-on-ones on the outside, double team Kelce, and just pray that Patrick Mahomes isn't able to do too much with his legs in this game.
Will Kansas City be able to? I mean, we know Andy Reid doesn't want to run the ball, but at some point they've run it better. Pacheco's done a pretty good job. Will they have success running the football at all in this game, Dalton?
Yeah, I think that they actually can have success running the football in this game. They have a really, really good middle of that offensive line, and even on the left side with Orlando Brown at tackle. And Isaiah Pacheco brings such an attitude to that Kansas City Chiefs offense that we really haven't seen in a long time from a runner. And then you bring Jerick McKinnon in for a little bit of a change of pace, and obviously he can catch the ball out of the backfield. But this is a really good offensive line. If you look at ESPN's pass block win rate, they were at 75%. They were very much at the top. And I'm not a huge fan of O-line metrics because I think that they leave a lot of nuance out. But it goes to show that this is a really solid offensive line, at least from left tackle to right guard. I think the biggest matchup in this game is going to be Wiley at right tackle against whoever, probably Hassan Reddick a lot of the time, is going to be big. And I think if you use that to your advantage as the Kansas City Chiefs and really run at Hassan Reddick wherever he is at, so he can't pin his ears back, I think that's kind of where they go with it. The problem is Howie Roseman bringing in Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph in midway through the year to help out that run defense. It still wasn't amazing by any means. I mean, it is kind of their weak point on defense. But we've seen Andy Reid, when he has to, stick with the run. And I think that in this game, he's going to stick with the run a little bit because it is the Philadelphia defense's weakness.
Are these the 2 best teams in the league at the line of scrimmage? If you were to add up the 5 O linemen and the 4 D linemen that the teams put on the field the majority of the time, 9 against 9, would these 2 teams grade out 1 and 2?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line might be a little bit of an issue, but then at the same time, they have Chris Jones and Frank Clark shows up in the playoffs. So
exactly.
Yes. I think yes. I mean, they're the best 2 teams in the NFL, and I think you're seeing what you're able to do when you build the trenches, especially for a young quarterback like Jalen Hurts. When you're able to build the trenches, I think that that's kind of the way that you build teams in the NFL. Obviously, it's built, and marketed around the skill positions. But the Philadelphia Eagles, who are who they are because of what Howie Roseman has done, drafting the offensive line and building the defensive line through trades and free agency and a little bit through the draft. Yeah.
We talked about Hurts' legs and throwing. Who's the X factor for Philly offensively? Who's the guy that you think that can maybe break out in this game, or is it A.J. Brown even? Who's the guy offensively that has to be there other than Hurts for Philly?
Dallas Goedert, 100%. I think him over the middle because of the way that Philadelphia runs the ball, him attacking Willie Gay, And Nick Bolton, Willie Gay's a little bit banged up. I think if you're going to see an X factor in this game, it's going to be Dallas Goedert.
Well, and also you can see the storyline now, all the talk about Kelsey and, Goddard, who's probably top 6 tight end in the league by himself, but not in Kelsey's class, obviously. And he ends up with the big day, blah, blah, blah. Do you have a lean? I mean, you sound like, you're checking this box, you're checking this box. I mean, do you have a lean?
Early in the week, I really thought Philadelphia had the advantage. And the more I come in here and watch the tape, I think Steve Spagnuolo is going to figure out a way to at least slow down this rushing attack a little bit. And I think Philadelphia deserves to be favorited in this football game because I think their roster is better. But I just keep going back to 2 weeks of Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo getting ready for this game. And I think they're the best coaching staff in the NFL. I think they're going to be ready. And then at the end of the day, you have the best player on the planet at the most important position in professional sports on your side. I think they're going to get it done in the end.
He's Dalton Miller. He breaks football down for ProFootballNetwork.com. Follow him on Twitter, Dalton the letter B Miller, Dalton B Miller. Follow PFN on Twitter at PFN365. All right, Dalton, go back into the cave. You must emerge by Sunday afternoon, okay? Set the timer.
I will be there. The timer will be set.
Thanks, Dalton.
Dalton Miller, kind enough to join us once again. Pro Football Network's been great to us throughout the season between Matt Canada and Dalton Miller joining us this day and time throughout the year, including here in the postseason, even though a lot's been going on in the Mountain and Western time zones.
Yeah, I don't know if they realize this might be a yearly thing because the season never ends, and they know that as well as anybody.
Well, listen, Matt Canada is the one to blame, okay? He answered the phone. He said yes. And then he made that fatal mistake, Mark, which some guests do. Hey, yeah, call anytime.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah. See, we're a mid-major show, and we have a mid-major budget. And by budget, we mean none at all. So, okay.
Text lines are open. Anything Dalton said you want to comment on, 21,000 is the number. 21000. If you've never texted the show before, FSN Radio is the keyword. Once you do that, you are in taking your text, or join us on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, where you can watch the show right here on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles Or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Don't know if you saw this, David, but Armin Catane wrote a book. He says, the word is finally out. The book I wrote with the GOAT will publish August 15th. Gambling Secrets, 6 years of high-stakes betting with Phil, battle with the Southern District's 31 months in prison wrapped around one hell of an inspiring life story.
Mm-hmm. And apparently he lays it on the line.
I don't know if we could ever,
well, we're going to try like hell.
Right. I got to figure out a way. We got to get Mary Carrillo back on the show, too. I can't stick my wife on it, but every time my wife says she brings her pets in for, I'm like, you want to get her phone number so I can get her as a guest again?
So here, making notes. Mary Carrillo. Armin Catane, the book.
Well, it's one of those things. If I think especially if Mary was on, then I'd say, Mary, we have a common thing here. My wife's your vet. I think we might get her more.
Agreed.
And she's just cool.
She always has been.
Right. She's just flat out cool.
Always has been.
I want to have a drink with Mary Carrillo.
When I was still doing TV, so that was just nearly 20 years ago, and she was through the studio, and she had an HBO crew with her, and they needed an editor. They were in town doing something, and so they, were in the sports office, and they were editing, and for a couple hours, she was great. She cursed like a sailor. It was awesome.
I will say one thing. The tweet I saw, this kid I follow, who he's a Barstool guy, but he's a big Orioles and baseball guy. But he just retweeted something about the speeds in the Ford, like the fastest players, stolen base leaders. The stolen base numbers in the minors with the bigger bases, David, in the new rules, went through the roof.
Really?
Yes. I read an article last week in The Athletic or something. I don't know where I read it, but about the changes. But the bigger bases, you can't throw over as much. And that stolen base numbers haven't been that, someone could get to 70 stolen bases, David.
Well, flipping around the channels, driving around yesterday, and MLB Network Radio actually took what LeBron did and started talking about, what are the records in our sport that we think may never be broken, but what are the ones that maybe one day we could actually envision, and they were talking about the hit record, in which they said, if Ichiro had played his whole career in the States, because if you add up his Japan hits and his U.S. hits, he actually has more hits than Rose. And they wondered, could somebody ever challenge that? And they brought up Ricky Henderson's 1,400 and something steals. And they're like, do you know who like the active person is in steals? And it's like less than 300.
Right. Yeah,
and like
Avs and Lightning tonight, baby.
Tampa.
Yeah.
Nice.
5 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Final hour of Miller and Moulton in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, and Port Charlotte to Venice. We're halfway home in the 239. The bonus hour begins 1 hour from now. It is back. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, all that good stuff coming at you in our 9 o'clock hour. If you don't get it, floridasportsnetwork.com, floridasportsnetwork.com, or take us in on Twitch, the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. If you missed it, Kevin Durant's a Phoenix Sun. Traded
That's right.
Three players, 4 first-round picks, and a pick swap. Yeah. Kevin Durant's in Phoenix. Kyrie's in Dallas. The deadline's still got 7 hours. Who else could get traded in these 7 hours? I mean, supposedly Toronto was cleaning house. Well, what's up, Toronto?
Haven't done a thing.
Come on, get with the program. Kevin Durant in Phoenix. Kyrie in Dallas. He had 24 last night. They beat the Clippers in Los Angeles. Led start to finish. Huh? This league's getting interesting all of a sudden. Lakers even made a move. Roster's not bad. Really isn't. Now, they're in a hole, but, I mean, do you really want to see them in a play-in? I mean, imagine you're Denver. You're the 1 seed in the West. You end up with the Lakers in the first round with a healthy AD to go one-on-one against Jokic. I mean, this league could get pretty damn entertaining here the rest of this year.
I will say, because of the moves and what's going on, you are right. The stretch drive will be interesting to see how the play-in works out. The team's trying to get out of the play-in games on both sides. So, and they're not done yet. I believe that Toronto's going to clean house today.
You know what's funny, though? They've done the worst thing for a general manager.
They got the 10th.
They won some games here in the week before the deadline. They've won 2 or 3 in a row. And you're right. Now they're in the play-in. And they're like, we're a cute little team. Do we really want to break this up? I'm with you. I think Van Fleet gets traded today. I don't know. And I do think Anunoby there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
OG
gets traded because and I actually think somebody out west will pick him up because they're going to need him to guard Durant. He's a really good defender.
If I were Denver, I'd be all over that because I think Denver needs another defender. They don't defend all that well. I know it's a scoring league, but in the postseason, at some point, you've got to stop someone.
And OG Anunoby also spreads the floor.
Yeah. So does a Memphis or a Denver decide, oh, boy, Dallas, Phoenix, and Lakers here are getting serious?
Memphis just would need a shooter more than a defender. They're fine defensively. They run into scoring problems.
So will the Heat do anything? They need a shooter desperately. Get either Bogdanovich, to be honest with you.
What are you talking about? They have one. They're paying $90 million to have one. Just sitting on the bench and not even playing.
I understand. Okay. Hell, at this point, I'd settle for an Aaron Brockovich for the Heat. Get somebody who can shoot. Play on words there, but you get the idea.
I gotcha.
Thank you. So 3 o'clock this afternoon. So about 7 hours till that deadline. But yeah, you're waking up. Kevin Durant's a Phoenix Sun. Tell you what, I credit Brooklyn. We said it yesterday. We're like, listen, they're meeting. That's not a good sign in and of itself. If the guy's all in, why do you have to meet with him? You walk up to him, you go, "You okay with life after Kyrie?" And if he goes, "Yeah, sure, I'll be fine." There you go. If you're having to meet with him, he's telling you, "Get me the hell out of here. I don't want to stay here. I didn't want to stay here during the offseason. You guys talked me into staying. See how well that worked out. Get me out of here." And they kept it quiet, and they did the deal. And will the Celtics rue the day? I mean, Mark, we talked about Phoenix has to win a title during this run. Well, you know who has to win a title? The Celtics. They're keeping their two young studs together. Smart move. You'll be good for the next 5 years. Absolutely. Yeah, you got to cut down the nets, so. I mean, take a look up in the rafters. They don't celebrate Eastern Conference Finals.
What is it, 1 in 37 years, something like that?
I mean, Bird's last title was 86. 86. So they won the one in, what was it, 08?
2011. Was it 08?
The Celtics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
08. Yeah. 08, sorry.
And I thought Bird won in 87.
No. The Lakers went back-to-back 87, 88. Bird's 3 titles were 81, 84, 86. The 86 team may be the best. They went 40-1 at home that year with a healthy Bill Walton off the bench.
Whew.
Portland, by the way, the answer to the trivia question, who beat Boston in the Garden that year. But so think about it. Since 1986, the Boston Celtics have won 1 championship. Now, they've been to the finals like 4 times. You know, they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals like 8. You know, I mean, they haven't been terrible except during the 90s there with Pitino. The last 20 years, they've been a pretty damn good, solid franchise. But they're the Celtics, for goodness sakes. That's like the Yankees. Ask a Yankee fan how the last 12 years have gone.
You have to do that right at the 8 o'clock hour. Like, I need my phone to blow up with my Yankee friends that are going to start complaining.
But it's, you know, I'm right.
I know you are.
I mean, they live in a world that most fan bases don't. And we also talked about it since 1986. What is it, 6-1, 7-1? Lakers titles to Celtics? I mean, the Lakers have caught them, right? Aren't they tied for the same number of most titles?
Yes. 17. That's the number.
I mean, they take that stuff to heart. So that was the whale. They let them get away. Okay, let's see if they're right.
And I wonder how many other teams were even involved in this. As you brought up earlier in the show, you think that there were teams that had more to, or at least the similar packages, if not better packages, to give to Brooklyn.
Well, I think New Orleans' package could have been every bit as good, if not better, because the picks that the Pelicans could have added. Remember, they got picks coming from unprotected picks from the Lakers coming up here in this year's draft, I believe. I mean, that could be a lottery pick. You know, I think New Orleans picks could have been better, would have been better, at least more quickly than the picks that the Nets got from Phoenix. By the way, you can't trade picks in consecutive years in the NBA. So you have to stagger them. So like the 4 picks that the Brooklyn's getting, they're getting a first rounder in 23, 25, 27, 29.
But as we've pointed out, 23 and 25, how good are those picks?
Probably in the mid to high 20s. So, you know, maybe you can get a decent player and maybe a starter. But it's tough to expect that you're going to replace Kevin Durant with picking 26th. So, but you know, Giannis went 15th. You know, we all got the stories. I don't even know if Devin Booker was a lottery pick or not. You know, I mean.
No, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Right.
But it's really difficult
to
find yourself a superstar if you're not picking in the lottery.
So, you know, that was the big story. And I think Roger Goodell and the NFL should thank the NBA, because otherwise the big story today that everybody would be talking about is Roger Goodell saying that he's proud of the league's record on diversity and that the NFL officiating's never been better. And instead, that lasted about 3 hours. And that's because of the NBA. And I think Rod should, he should probably go to a game at some point to show a little respect. Sit somewhere where he's visible, and people go, hey, how about that? Roger Goodell taking in an NBA game.
Unfortunately,
like
Phoenix on a road trip because of the Super Bowl, so he won't be able to do it while he's in Phoenix the next couple of days.
Ah, darn. Phoenix at home early next week. Maybe Raj could, stay. I mean,
Stick
Monday
around.
night, maybe.
How quickly do you think Raj leaves? Do you even think he spends the night in Phoenix the night of the Super Bowl, or he's on the private jet heading back to New York?
I think
he's on the jet.
I think he's schmoozing. We've heard stories before from Pat that sometimes he's had dinner with Raj after the game. I think he's schmoozing. And what's the hurry to get back to New York? What, go back to the office? I mean, you got the company credit card, for goodness sake. You are the company credit card. I don't know. I mean, you're a couple hours away. You could drive into the mountains, have a retreat for a couple days.
Maybe you need 4 days of darkness after the Super Bowl.
Exactly. You and Aaron Rodgers spend the week together. Commiserate. Rodgers goes, man, I got to decide whether or not to come back. And Raj could say, yeah, you answered the phone calls from Jared and Kraft.
Maybe Raj is the one delivering the food to him.
So do you only get the food at night? Because, if you open the door, you let the sunlight in. I mean, if you want darkness. And
from what I read, there's a slot in the house for the food. But there's no phone, so it's not DoorDash, so it's pre-ordered.
Right.
Because that's what someone texted yesterday. Wait a minute. No phones. How's he ordering food? Apparently, everything's all set up. A 4-day darkness retreat, which sounds like absolute hell.
Really?
4 days in the dark. In the dark, David.
I understand.
And you and I both look at our phone every 38 seconds to check Twitter for something.
We do.
So, first off, imagine losing this sucker for 4 days.
Huh.
I'd challenge you to lose it for a day.
Oh, no, I could. I actually would surprise everybody in my life. I actually have no problem taking the phone and not bringing it with me and going places and coming back and there's 17 messages. People are like, where were you? I said, I left the phone back at the house. I could do
17 messages. You're that popular?
No.
17 messages in a week.
No, you and Casio. Casio start one of those, joint text things and you start snide comments back and forth. Next thing you know, I got 17 messages. Okay. 16 of them are from the two of you being snarky back and forth with one another.
Okay. That's the only way my phone would have 17 messages on it, is if I missed a group chat.
No, hell, I don't even know if I have 17 names in my phone. Please. Am I even following 17 people on Twitter? I barely am. Miller and Moulton. Matt Moscona will join us in 25 minutes. Is Derek Carr going to be a saint? I'll ask him that and a few other questions coming up. Miller and Moulton.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'm trying not to pay attention to the news as much as possible.
Good for you.
Have you seen the death toll, though?
Yeah.
Can I do this one segment?
Yeah. No. I knew you had this. You're just trying to get to 20.
Mm-hmm. I'm reading Lindsay Clancy. To get serious for a second, though, when I was in the hospital with the, kidney cancer and getting the kidney removed and all that, it was during the pandemic, and I was alone. And for whatever reason, I don't know why. I think it's because it was such a struggle. In the 11 days I was there, I only turned the TV on twice. And it was to the both Sundays I was there to watch the Jordan documentary with the Bulls. So I watched 4 hours of television in 11 days. That was it. Didn't even have it on. And the lights were out in the room. Now, the room was not dark, but the lights were out the whole time. And I just sat in the bed in quiet for 11 days. But you're right. The phone was nearby. Like, it wasn't on me. I wasn't living on the phone, but the phone was off to the side. But 4 days in the darkness, like if it was a bet.
David, I'm just telling you, I've been in a hospital room overnight. Not 11 days, but that is the furthest thing from darkness in the world. There are so many lights in that room.
I know that.
You can see every wall.
I know that. But put it this way. If it was a bet, I could do it. Like, I wouldn't know what he's doing. I wouldn't volunteer to do it. I think it's nuts. And go on a bender, sleep it off, make your decision. But if you made me a bet, if I could do it, absolutely I could do it. It's like Casio sends me all these eating contests.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Matt Moscona, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, dominating the airwaves. He just got a promotion earlier this week as well. He's now the boss, Mark.
I saw that. Good for him.
Yeah. Good guy. It's been good to us. About 15 or so minutes, we'll have him on, and we'll ask him, I think there's anything to this Derek Carr to New Orleans stuff. And we'll also get him to explain a controversy that is raging within the borders of the state, which may go national tomorrow. Explain what it is, and it's something we could, wait to see just how big a deal it becomes, or is it just kind of a Louisiana thing? You and I kick quite a few things around. It's basically what we do for a living. And we throw ideas out there, but we also talk about expansion. Some, NBA has room for 2 more teams. Major League Baseball has room for 2 more teams. And obviously, with the whole Rays stadium situation, what have you, would they ever move, or are they going to get their act together? And this way, Major League Baseball can move on elsewhere. So Jim Bowden, who I love, MLB Network Radio, but he also writes for The Athletic. And the reason I like him is he's an ideas guy. He's willing to throw stuff out there and take the heat that comes with it. Trades, ideas in the sport, and what have you. So he said, okay, if the A's situation is going to get resolved here, either Oakland or Vegas, and if apparently, before this decade's done, the Rays are going to stay and get a new stadium, well then, okay, let's move on this expansion thing, and let's do exactly what the NFL did. 32 teams, 8 4-team divisions. By the way, let's eliminate the leagues. So he's not only expanding, but he's eliminating the leagues, which means geographic realignment.
And David, I think right there, that one sentence, I think you had people interested, excited though, because expansion, I think, gets people, their ears perk up. Ooh, where are their new teams going to be? And then you punched them in the gut when you said you're taking the leagues away. Because if you're a baseball person, that is such a monumental move in idea, but is it actually that big of a move?
Thank you, because what has Major League Baseball done over the last quarter century? The interleague play, and a lot of it. And beginning, what was it, last year or this year? Now you will play everybody. They're doing what the NHL is doing. Less division games, the rivalries you really want to see. And no, got to make sure Mike Trout and Ohtani come to your ballpark once a year. Or at least your team plays them once a year. I don't even think they can, justify them coming to you, but at least they'll be on the schedule. Huh? Okay. So anyway, he says, by the way, to do this, you need to expand geographically. He said, we got a lot of teams actually west of the Mississippi. All right. We don't need a team in Portland. And here's his case in point, Mark. Okay. I'm just going to go from west of the Mississippi. Here's how he realigned baseball. The Midwest Division, Cubs, White Sox, Brewers, Twins.
Okay.
If the Chicago sports fan can get over the Cubs and the White Sox being in the same division, so let me get this straight. You got Milwaukee, 2 teams in Chicago and Minneapolis. I don't know. That seems to be a great division. How about the Southwest Division? You got the 2 Texas teams, Astros and the Rangers. Got the 2 Missouri teams, Royals and the Cardinals. Boom. Pacific Coast, Rockies, A's, Mariners, Giants.
Which is fine when the A's go to Vegas, too.
Yeah. Oakland or
It
Vegas.
still
It
works.
works. Right. The West, by the way, Angels and Dodgers, obviously. Padres, Diamondbacks. Okay. So, I mean, got to admit, they all fit geographically, right? I mean, that works, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, this isn't Dallas in the NFC East, right? I mean, come on, think about it.
Or the Falcons.
Yeah, right. In the NFC West all those years. Man, come on, it was absurd. So now here we go. First off, the Southeast Division. Rays and Marlins fan. What do you think of this? Rays, Marlins, Braves, Nashville.
That's kind of what I thought. One of the expansion would go into that division.
What do you think? Rays, Marlins, Braves, Nashville. All right. Okay. Mid-Atlantic. This is where it starts to get a little controversial to me. Orioles and Nats. That makes sense. He says, in order to do this, I got to put a team in Charlotte. So I can tell you right now, the Braves think this is the worst idea in the world. Let me get this straight. You're going to put a team in Nashville and Charlotte? Seriously. How much you want to cut into our fan base, for goodness sakes? So Baltimore, Washington, Charlotte, Pittsburgh. Yeah. Now you separate the Pirates from the Phillies. You separate the Pirates from the Reds. So geographically, the Pirates are kind of, sort of on an island here. The North Division. Cincinnati and Cleveland are in the same division. Reds and Guardians. Tigers and Blue Jays. Across the border from each other, right? I mean, it's a little ways, but...
No, Detroit and Cleveland close. Detroit, Cincinnati, 2 original, the first team in each league. Okay.
Yeah, the oldest franchises in each league, so to speak. Okay, now here we go. Here we go. You know what that leaves? Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, Phillies. I'm a Mets fan. I have no problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. First off, in my lifetime, the NL East, the Cardinals were in the NL East. Okay? The Cubs were in the NL East. I mean, please. The Mets finished behind the Phillies, the Pirates, the Cubs, the Cardinals, the Expos. I mean, seriously. Then the Braves came. I mean, come on.
They've lost a lot of games. Sorry,
So you keep Yankees, Red Sox together, and you keep Mets, Phillies together. And those are the biggest rivals of each. I mean, Yankees, Red Sox, obvious. But believe it or not, Mets, Phillies. The whole New York, Philadelphia sports fan thing, connected by the Jersey Turnpike. So now, needless to say, Mark, baseball people think Jim Bowden just needs to be taken out back and, stabbed. Is that crazy, though?
No, it's not crazy. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
It will really bother some people.
No doubt.
It will really bother Portland because they think they're the front runner for a franchise next to Nashville.
Yes, absolutely. But what you have to do, though, is look at those 16 teams west of the Mississippi and go, well, okay, then one of them's got to go east and not fit. I mean, clearly there will be a team that geographically will not fit if you expand west of the Mississippi. And that's the case Jim Bowden's making. If you throw our teams up on the board, okay, we got too many to the left. We need, same thing in the NBA, by the way.
Which is a problem people don't think they have. You think all the expansion's going that way because there are so many holes geographically. But what he's pointing out is the holes aren't really as big as one would seem.
So just wanted to throw that out there. A little food for thought. I mean, once again, it's Super Bowl week. Nothing's happening. The game's Sunday. So, this is what we've now realized. Unless you're at the Super Bowl on Radio Row, all right, there's nothing going on. Talk about the NBA. We'll talk about Major League Baseball, a little hockey. Oh, yeah, there's a game Sunday, 6:30. Hope you watch. Miller and Moulton. Matt Moscona. Back talking football next.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
When we were doing primetime action, Kelly, you will remember that Roxy Roxborough was adjacent to the studio. I called him in. I'm like, "Hey, Roxy, let's do a segment."
He knew who I was because the first round of golf we talked about sports from the time we teed off and the time we came in.
I was around a bookmaker who in Las Vegas who said that Phil Mickelson came in and made a big preseason bet on the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl the year they won it. And he said, Phil's been losing to me ever since. And he won that. But Phil winds up owing you a lot of money. Does that come about through sports betting? Or I can't imagine. You're a good golfer, but I can't imagine you beating Phil regularly.
Well, first of all, you're right. I never beat him regularly playing golf. Well, we played golf together, and I would say it was probably tit for tat. But as far as Phil owing me any money, we had a family relationship that lasted for 6 years. From my perspective, I think it was more than that. I think we became friends. And the book that I've written, it will go into detail about what that relationship was. It included the trial that I was involved with in the Southern District of
The insider trading accusations by the federal government.
Well, actually, they ended up being proven. So but anyway, so much for that. The way things worked out. Phil and I no longer have the relationship we have today.
I was told that you feel that if Phil had agreed to testify, that you would not have been found guilty. True or false?
I think that's in the public already out there, and I think I've already said that, and yes, that's true.
So let me give context to that, because
'That's on hold. You heard Mark?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
What?
A second Jersey council person's
Yeah, I
been
saw
shot.
that.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. What the hell? Golly.
Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until we're done in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice. The bonus hour for those in the 239 begins at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Matt Moscona is kind enough to join us once again. He does afternoons, New Orleans and Baton Rouge on ESPN Radio. He's now the boss. The boss. Not to be confused with Springsteen. Follow Matt on Twitter, Matt Moscona, Moscona. Good morning, boss. How are you?
Hey, guys. Good morning. I'm doing well, thanks.
Did you have a big first meeting when you were named boss? Did you bring everybody in and kill them with all the meetings you've had to sit through many years on the other end of the desk and say, now here's how I'm running the show?
Oh, man, there have been a lot of meetings this week for sure. But no, not doing the one big meeting, trying to meet with everybody sort of individually, lay out some expectations, but more so what I can do to help everybody else. But it is exciting. Our brand has grown around our station for a decade and a half now. And it's I've been there since they turned the lights on, man. So it's pretty cool to be able to kind of help lead the next generation of what's to come.
So you didn't pull the Eddie Murphy in the bar scene. There's a new sheriff in town and his name is Matt Moscona. You didn't pull that?
I did not. I had a little more low key.
Hey, listen, we're going to get to Derek Carr and the Saints in a minute. So I'm guessing most people listening have no idea about the raging controversy that is going on in your state. Okay. Can you quickly sum up what you guys have basically spent the last couple weeks getting really bent out of shape and worked up about?
Yeah. I'll try to do it succinctly. So Dale Brown was the coach at LSU for 25 years, basketball coach. Brought LSU really to heights its basketball program had never seen. First, time going to the Final Four, 13 straight NCAA tournament appearances. Actually retired as the second winningest coach in SEC history, behind only Adolph Rupp. Coach Brown is now 87. About a year and a half ago, the LSU Board of Supervisors voted to name the court in Dale Brown's honor, which the ceremony happened last January. Fast forward over the ensuing months here in the last year, there is one board member in particular who is a wealthy woman of a former politician in our state who is pushing it, sort of quietly pushing this agenda toward, I can only assume, equal rights or whatever it may be, in an honor to co-name the court after the former women's coach, Sue Gunter. Now, the caveat, guys, is the idea of co-naming was brought before the board a year ago, and they voted it down and chose to name it solely, in honor of Dale Brown. But this woman, her name is Mary Warner, is very influential because she's very rich, and so she has pressured the governor of Louisiana, who of course appoints the Board of Supervisors members, to push this through quietly, although it hasn't been quiet because people found out and people are enraged. But the governor persists because he's doing a favor for a very wealthy supporter, and in the process is willing to take the honor of a lifetime for Dale Brown and dishonor him, which is very typical of Louisiana and horribly sad, all in the same time.
Is it going to? I mean, at the end of the day, is this going to get done?
The vote is scheduled to be tomorrow. The board has to put an agenda out legally 24 hours before their meeting, which is tomorrow morning. So, I mean, guys, it's 7:42 a.m. Central right now. So within the next few hours, I would imagine that the board meeting agenda would be posted, so we'll know definitively. But because they're not going to take it to a vote if it's not going to pass. But just logically, fellas, I mean, how in the world can a board that 12 months ago or 15 months ago voted to do this just all of a sudden have this change of heart? That's the most comical thing, is the governor is pushing this narrative out there through his lackeys to say, oh, the board members approached me with this great idea, the great idea that the same board members voted down a year and a half ago. It's so typical of our state. Look, man, we're good people and we throw a hell of a party and we're good at football, but there's a reason Louisiana is dead last in education and roads and crime and everything that you want to be good in, we're last in, and everything you want to be last in, we're first in, because of things like this. I mean, the governor of our state is covertly trying to change the name of a basketball court. Like, that's what he's spending his time on. It's just, it's embarrassing, man, but it's very typical Louisiana.
Well, the quarterback play in New Orleans has been close to embarrassing the last 2 years. How about that for a segue, huh?
Hey, professional radio guy. You want
to listen, if you know the boss, let me know. So here's what we don't understand. We understand why Carr might be interested in the Saints and the Saints interested in Carr. Why do they have to trade for him? He's got a no-trade clause. Can't he just go with Aaron Rodgers, sit 4 days in darkness, wait till the deadline expires, and just sign with you guys?
Unless if there's another suitor and listen, I've been very adamant. There is no way at all the New Orleans Saints should trade for Derek Carr. What people often forget is you're not just trading for the player, you're trading for the contract as well. And this year, his cap hit would be north of $30 million. The next 2 seasons, it would be over $43 million. Even if you rework a deal, do you really want to extend a player that by the end of that deal will be 35 years old? And let's be very honest, Derek Carr's best days are behind him. Is he a better option today than Andy Dalton? Yes. But why in the world, if you're the Saints, would you give up draft capital when you have a lot of holes on your roster? Give up draft capital for the right to pay an aging quarterback past his prime, who the organization that knows him best is kicking him to the curb, to pay him that kind of money? That would be, guys, in my opinion, if the Saints trade for not sign him as a free agent, but if they trade for Derek Carr, give up draft capital to acquire a quarterback who is 32 years old, and with that contract, considering the Saints' already cap mess that they're in and the holes they have on the roster, it would be the worst decision personnel-wise that this franchise will have made since Mike Ditka traded an entire draft for Ricky Williams. It would be that unconscionable right now to make a deal like that because of how close this franchise is teetering on the brink of being the worst team in the NFL again.
Well, and that's what Matt, you brought it up briefly there. They're in a cap mess right now. We were just talking about the Michael Thomas numbers that are coming down the road here. They're going to have to cut players to make this work. So bringing on a contract is just another level of insanity, isn't it?
They do it every year. And I don't want to be hypocritical and speak with the benefit of hindsight, guys. But when Drew Brees was aging, this is the process the Saints follow. I know a lot of people may not follow this because not every NFL fans follow the cap so closely, but the Saints essentially were buying on credit for about a half a decade. They just kept restructuring deals and kicking the can down the road, and they would convert salary to a signing bonus and spread that out over years, even like voidable years at the end of deals. So the cap is a mess, but they kept doing it because they were in perpetual win now mode because they were trying to win a Super Bowl with Drew Brees before he retired. Well, they won a lot of games. We all know they didn't win another Super Bowl, and now they're stuck with this giant credit card bill essentially without a Super Bowl to show for it. So you can keep doing that. I mean, they can make it work. They're $55 million over the projected cap right now. So they're going to have to cut players, restructure deals, do the whole thing just to get into cap compliance. And then you're going to take on this contract as well for a guy at 32 years old whose best days are behind him. It is completely nonsensical to do that. Now, if the Raiders cut Derek Carr and you can sign him to a more approachable deal and maybe something that's incentive laden, fine. I'm all for that. Derek Carr's a better option than Andy Dalton, but every deal has to be considered when you're considering the terms of the deal. And this one for a player like Derek Carr would make no sense.
And Matt, the reason that this story interests us, besides another opportunity to talk to you, but obviously Saints and Bucks are in the same division, and Saints and Bucks have pretty much the same cap situation. Tampa's well over 50 million over the cap as well, and they're in the same division. And we've asked Bucks fans for the last couple of weeks, hey, do you want to retool and try to win the worst division in the league? Or are you ready to tear it down and start over? Curious, what's the answer to that question in your state? Because where we sit, if I'm the Saints, I bottom out for a year. I get my cap situation straightened out, and I begin again in 24.
I think that's the consensus among supporters and fans, but that's a tougher sell for Dennis Allen. Because if they bottom out in 2023, is he back in 2024? So in his mind, he's thinking, I got to win now. I got to win games. But realistically, guys, the Saints aren't Derek Carr away from being a Super Bowl contender. So even if you push toward 500, where really are you? The general feel here has been draft a quarterback, re-sign Andy Dalton, be what you're going to be, use your draft capital this year to try to retool the roster with young players and start building toward it again. The Saints have had successful drafts. It's been a hallmark. As the problem they've had is they've chosen to pay the wrong players. Like, you keep Marcus Davenport around, but you let Trey Hendrickson walk in free agency. Well, that was a miss, but you drafted both guys. They've been very successful on draft weekend. And they can do it. They can rebuild this roster through the draft. They got to be willing to use that draft capital and maybe take a step back to take two steps forward.
Matt Moscona, ESPN Radio, New Orleans and Baton Rouge. You can follow him on Twitter, Matt Moscona, Moscona. Hey, congratulations on the well-deserved promotion. Congratulations on all of your and your station's success. And hey, Super Bowl's coming in a couple years. Hopefully, we'll see each other before then.
I'd love it, guys. Always appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Matt Moscona, kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton. But the word out yesterday that Raiders have given Carr permission to talk to the Saints, and that apparently a deal is being discussed. And we're all in agreement. Well, why work out a trade? I mean, Mark, if I'm the Saints and you're Derek Carr, why would you want me to have to give up draft assets to get you if you've made up your mind? We've talked contract, even though we're not supposed to. And I mean, why do you want me having to give up even a 3rd round pick?
Because of what Matt just said. He's not worth the money on that contract. And he's not going to get that kind of money. That's why Derek Carr would do it. The money, lumpy gravy. That's why. That's the only reason, David.
Let me ask Bucs fans, do you want to lose Derek Carr to the Saints? I mean, Carr was linked to the Bucs for an hour and a half. I mean, we just laid it out. The teams were in damn near identical situations. Now, you could debate which roster is more ready to win now, but we all know it's the worst division in football, and looks like it'll be the worst division in the league next year, too.
And I know it sounds silly, but what do you have to give the Raiders to get him? They're going to cut him. What do you literally have to give to get that quarterback to you in a trade?
Well, also, if you're Tampa, you do the whole, hey, listen, Florida, taxes, I mean, you're scheduled to make whatever. Well, we could pay you this. And with the tax situation, that's the same figure. I mean, do the Bucs try to sell that? If you're the Bucs, though, do you want, Mark, you've been a Bucs season ticket holder 2 of the last 3 years. Would you want Derek Carr next year?
Yes.
Okay.
More than what's there.
Not knowing what the alternative is, you're going to, move Gabbert or, Trask up. Like Washington announced yesterday, they're going to move Sam Howell up and make him the starter next year.
What I'd like is maybe to hire an offensive coordinator first.
Then there's that.
Could we start there?
It'd be a good place to start, yes. I mean, I have to admit, I'd prefer the quarterback before the coordinator, but either one would be good, yeah. Hey, Kevin Durant's a Phoenix Sun, in case you missed it. Yep. 6 hours, 8 minutes left in the NBA trade deadline. That has delivered, thank you very much. Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, about 12 other players, about 19 other draft picks. There we're talking.
And now, Toronto, we're talking to you.
Yeah.
Time to start making some moves. You got to get rid of some of these players.
How about Miami?
How about a Bogdanovich? There's 2 of them. Pick one. How about an Aaron Brockovich? There's somebody.
Somebody that can make a 3-pointer.
Right. In heels or not, without. Whatever.
Who the hell is Aaron Brockovich?
Google it. It's a movie. It was a female that helped a lawyer in a big case. Julie Roberts played the part in the movie.
Yeah.
It was
Gotcha.
Julia Roberts. Okay.
It's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, and her tatas were hanging out the whole movie. So
it's one of the reasons it was a really good movie.
So there you go.
Miller and Moulton.
Slow in parts, Felipe, so you're going to have to enjoy the scenery.
And tatas. Thanks for listening right here on the the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. on 5th Avenue in Naples.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
You had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Why are everybody allowing this?
So JJ Redick has a podcast.
Has for a while.
He had Mike Breen on yesterday. I was listening to a little bit of it. If there's any man on earth I envy, it's probably Mike Breen. I mean, he's NBA royalty.
His big break was Imus in the Morning.
He's NBA royalty?
Yes.
Okay.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Well, he has been the voice of the NBA for your
30 plus
generation.
yeah.
Well, no, Marv Albert was the voice of the NBA through the 90s.
Well, 20 plus years.
And then in the 2000s, it was kind of, Al Michaels did a few NBA finals. The 2000s before Breen took over.
He's your NBA voice.
Right.
But mind you, the NBA, Marv Albert is the voice of the NBA.
Yes.
That's their heyday. Most popular time, most iconic players, and he was the voice of that generation.
And Mike Breen is NBA royalty.
If you say so.
Of your generation, he is the voice of the NBA. That's true. Last 15 years. It is true what Mark said. All those Jordan NBA Finals moments, all except one, have Albert's voice underneath.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this Thursday of Super Bowl 57 week, but also NBA trade deadline week, which has really dominated the sports scene this week. Congratulations to the association. All right. Heck, if you're the PGA Tour, dominate the next 2-3 days too. Have a big old party. What the heck? Golf tournament ends about half hour before the Super Bowl kicks off. When do you turn on, or you may have it on because you throw parties for the Super Bowl?
No, I don't. I haven't had people over in years. I watch Super Bowl with my wife.
Okay.
That's it.
So when do you either A, turn the TV on, or B, it's on, but you actually start paying attention to it?
Right around kickoff.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
It's on. It's probably on all day because I'm mesmerized by the over coverage of it. So I'll put the NFL Network on early in the morning. I just love the fact that they make people work essentially an 18-hour day for a football game. I think it is laughable.
Rich Eisen was joking about it yesterday. He was on the Dan Patrick Show. This, by the way, is his and their 20th Super Bowl. The NFL Network turns 20 this year. I think near the end of the year. And so,
Will it make 25?
Yeah. It's funny. The NFL's been trying to sell it for years, and now it's never had less programming. And the NFLPA is trying to eliminate the combine. So where's Rich going to run? But that's a whole other story. So back to Eisen in the Super Bowl. One, the pregame show's 9.5 hours. Do the math. 9.5 hours. So that means it's beginning 8:30 in the morning? 9 in the morning?
9 in the morning.
Okay. So now remember, that's 7 a.m. out there. That's number one. The last 3 hours before kickoff, they're not allowed to show any footage. Any past footage. They cannot show a highlight of any kind. Because apparently the network broadcasting the Super Bowl, that's worked into the deal. They're the only TV station that can be showing NFL highlight footage of any kind. And so Patrick said, well, then what the heck do you do? He said, we interview all the people arriving to the game. We turn it into the red carpet. Oh, interesting. And he says, oh, yeah, then we have to stick around until after the game and do the post-game show. And Patrick goes, do you nap during the game? He goes, I've dozed off before.
Now think about that. They do so much coverage. In fact, I think I want to say it was Michael Irvin. I've heard him tell a story. I thought it was Irvin that fell asleep for a good quarter of one of the games.
Mm-hmm. You could see where you would. The hour you get up and you work all day and then you crash and then you got to be ready to go on a post game. But I have gotten into the habit of watching the golf tournament, which is scheduled to end at 6. Now, was it last year, the year before, that it went like 4 sudden death holes? The game ended like they were doing the coin toss. They had done the anthem and everything. I mean, it damn near went to kickoff before they finally finished the sudden death playoff.
But I'll watch the Waste Management Open. Absolutely. How much pregame can we get? What are they actually going to give us in the pregame that we don't already know?
Well, there's usually a really good feature or two that if we had watched, we would have said, oh, wow, that was some good television. I mean, it's Fox, so Rinaldi's got to have a feature.
Oh, he's at some point, you're supposed to cry. And it's Tom Rinaldi's job to make that happen.
Well, I don't know if now going to Fox, in which, he makes us cry as much, but, got the Rinaldi factor. Erin Andrews can usually get a sit down with anybody she wants to get a sit down with. So, maybe you get a good interview. Who knows? One of those high paid guys on the set, maybe they have an in with somebody. So there's probably 3 or 4 things worth watching during the 4-hour pregame that they do. But yeah, I'm with you. I turn it on at around 6. I'll pay attention to. We'll have Lee Sterling on tomorrow. We'll get his insight over under on the length of the anthem.
I'm already going over for the record.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the under's been the play in recent years. Huh.
I'll wait and hear what Lee's daughter says and go with what that bet is.
Well, she's hit 8 in a row.
But I'm guessing, he's doing it with the guitar. So when does it end? The last note out of his mouth? The last note out of the guitar? How's this going to work?
Okay.
Will there be a guitar solo at the end?
And does that count?
Exactly.
I think it does.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
I think that counts.
I think you go note to note, don't you?
These are questions I'm really, I'm prepping for Lee tomorrow, and these are the big hard-hitting questions. I'd rather just get his daughter on and talk the anthem the entire time, but Lee won't do that.
7:21, by the way. Insight you can't get anywhere else tomorrow with Lee Sterling, as we'll break down the anthem and a few other things. I talked to him yesterday, by the way. He's come around. He feels pretty good about his Super Bowl pick. And he says, you got to get the Super Bowl right when you do what I do for a living. That's when people remember.
Absolutely.
Yep.
For most everybody, it's their last bet. People bet football and not much else.
Right.
I mean, you have to be a real degenerate to start betting college hoop and start looking at lines between San Diego State and Utah State on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night, for that matter.
And needless to say, Mark Miller was very aware of what that line was. But, will anybody care who's broadcasting the game? As Candidate Relief points out in our Twitch chat room, it's no Buck, Nance, or Al Michaels for the first time in a generation. Does anybody care?
I think the answer to that is no, unless they screw up. Unless somehow people think the broadcast is bad.
Brady making the announcement this week. He's not going to go to the booth next year. So Burkhart and Olsen will be the A team for Fox next year. Next year's a CBS Super Bowl year in Vegas. But if Brady does stick to his word that in 2024 he'll be in the booth, then Tom Brady's first year will be a Super Bowl year for Fox. This is the last year of the old TV deal. The new TV deal, 11-year TV deal, by the way, kicks in next year. And it's a very simple rotation. It's Fox, CBS, NBC, ABC. And then they rotate the same 4, and then they rotate the first 3. And that's the 11-year deal. So Fox, CBS, and NBC all get 3 Super Bowls. ABC gets 2.
Who spent the most money?
That would be ABC.
And they get 2.
Correct.
Okay, just checking.
Hey, just remember, though, last TV deal, who spent the most money?
ABC.
How many did they get?
0.
There you go. It's a hell of a deal. So Disney's laying off 7,000 people. How bad of a deal could it be?
That seems to be a headline every day. Just insert different company right now. So
we'll say this, though, and it will probably matter at some point to everyone listening to the show, but not right now. if Bob Iger is reorganizing Disney the way it looks like he's reorganizing, it does set ESPN up to be sold probably in the next 3 to 5 years, because it's going to be its own entity. Disney's going to be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and ABC, ESPN is going to be its own entity. And a couple years ago, the company was valued at 50. But just throwing that out there, that will probably affect, us as a viewer. But it's also worth paying attention to. College football is trying to negotiate a new playoff format. Does the Disney financial situation, does it affect how ESPN is going to do business, Mark? I mean, the NBA contract's up for renegotiation. Is Disney going to all of a sudden start sounding like Turner and kind of like, I don't know if it's worth the money? That would affect life in the NBA a great deal.
Could you imagine if both of their partners don't have the interest that they've had?
Or at least to the financial level that the NBA was anticipating they would. Right. Now, the thought is, because of how invested in streaming the four-letter network is, that they're still all in on the NBA. The college football one will be interesting, though. You and I are expecting that the college football playoffs are going to look like the NFL playoffs in terms of we're going to get multiple networks involved here. That's how you make more money. Look at the Big Ten's TV deal. They got Fox, CBS, NBC all involved. Who makes the most money now? Big Ten or SEC? Big Ten. SEC's in bed with one person. Big Ten in bed with three.
More fun with three and more money.
Right. And since there's a contract involved, more stability. Real world, not so much. Business world, more stability. So, a little sidebar there.
But something to pay attention to. Because that kind of came out yesterday of Iger's plans with Disney, and it thought the same thing you did, David, that sets up the potential sale for ESPN.
And is it possible, how can us mere mortals put our feet in the shoes of Tom Brady? Well, what if Olsen's really good? And what if he and Burkhardt get great reviews? And then they're working next year. And the momentum for them is, if Olsen, right now Olsen's viewed as, he's pretty good. But he's not viewed as this great announcer.
No, he's just not annoying. And I'm not being smart, right? With the heat that Romo's getting, the heat that Al Michaels got for a playoff game, what are we getting out of Burkhardt and Olsen? Consistency.
And is it possible, if Olsen does a really good job and gets great press, does that influence Brady? Because now, Brady hasn't had to deal with an understudy in a long time. Nobody's been clamoring for the backup quarterback with Tom Brady in the last 20 years. And wouldn't it be interesting if all of a sudden Olsen emerges and does a terrific job, gets great press, and now Brady not only has to live up to his name and reputation, he has to live up to being better than Greg Olsen.
And he will be taking his job, so the heat will be coming right at him, as opposed to being this universal love. It'll be a few shots be taking no matter what. But we buried a bit of the lead, David. When we come back, a story that we may have missed today. And for you and I think it's a big one. That's next on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. You know, you and I'd be far different if we were owners from a team. Kevin Durant wanted to go to Phoenix. Okay, I'm going to trade you to New Orleans. Where do you want to go? Then I'm not going to trade you there.
Yeah, well, supposedly they did that to Kyrie. They made sure that they didn't send him to LA. That the owner said, screw him.
But not to Durant.
Right. Well, RCB, the question is, by the way, ABC did that for a long time. ABC had 3 teams for college football. They had Keith Jackson and Fouts. They had Nessler and Danielson. Then they had Nestler and Greasy because Gary went with Brent. And they would rotate amongst the three teams who would do the national title game every year. I mean, if you go back and look, the last half of the 90s and through the first half of the 2000s, they just rotated. And then what ends up happening, RCB, is somebody's contract is up. And they say, yeah, I want to be the guy. And to keep him, you got to make him the guy. Well, Adam, it is interesting that, Disney's going to be, I think, movies, then TV and / streaming, and then their parks.
Hmm. 10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. All coming up. You said we buried the lead?
Well, for us. I thought we buried it a little bit.
What are you talking about? Kevin Durant's in Phoenix.
Oh, no. Here, David, I apologize. We're having a little glitch with your giddy up, and that's my fault. I think I looked up something during the break that sent it awry. But, David, today is National Pizza Day.
Wow.
I mean, for two guys that like to eat at the level we do, that to not even mention National Pizza Day until early in the 9 o'clock hour, I feel as if I buried the lead a little bit today.
Wow, we spent way too much time on the NFL and Kevin Durant.
Well, on Kevin Durant for sure.
Holy mackerel.
That's pretty big, actually, since this is also a food show.
Don't think Felipe said that with a lot of love either. It sounded like some resignation there. It's also a food show.
Well, I think if we did our job, we could put 20 or 30 pounds on Philly. If you were back in studio, back in the old days when we really used to eat during the show.
Yeah.
It was not a big deal for us to bring food in before the show and order a pizza during the show. But a couple of fast facts for you. David, the place you used to work, Domino's, #1 pizza chain in the country.
Really?
Over 3 billion pizzas are sold a year in the United States.
Huh.
In New York City, where you can get a slice for, $5-7 now. The most expensive pizza in the world's made in New York City. It costs $12,000.
Well, that seems a little ridiculous.
3 different types of caviar on it. Different kinds of cheese. It comes with a bottle of champagne, and they cook it for you in your house.
I hope it comes with Holly Berry or, Louis DiCaprio or something. I mean, it's $12,000. What the heck?
I wonder if it's ever been ordered. Someone's ordered it. Somebody just because.
Sure.
In that city where they have obscene wealth. Someone's done it just to say they have.
Wow.
Whoever's going to buy the Commanders probably did.
There you go.
$7 billion?
In fact, that's the deal. Here's the deal. I want $7 billion, and I want that pizza from the city. So what does that make it? $7 billion and 12,000. There it is.
That's it.
I want $7 billion and that pizza.
By the way, just because Twitch chat is giving me crap here, there was no angst behind the comment of the food show. I'm just hungry, okay?
Ah, yes.
You
I'm
two
angry.
both are like a 2-meal-a-show people right now. Felipe come in this morning. He's eating breakfast when I get here.
A piece of toast.
Still breakfast.
That's breakfast.
Moulton sometime, usually in the 6 o'clock hour during a break, 7 o'clock hour, he'll knock down a banana and a snack bar or a protein bar of some sort. I noticed that the break when the headsets come off, that's breakfast for David. And you have reasons health-wise that you have to eat in order to take medicine. I get it. Blah, 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 whatever.
And I'm also fat and like to eat. So, you combine the two and it works. Not for you because you're watching everyone around you eat during the show, but it's working for the two people around you.
So I am guessing because it's National Pizza Day, and I was trying to look, and I had a little glitch in my computer, so I don't want to touch anything right now and make David's voice do what it did at the beginning of the segment, and that's my fault. But I'm guessing that the chains out here have some pretty good deals.
Okay. Number one topping. Is it pepperoni? Is it extra cheese?
It's pepperoni.
You think it's pepperoni?
No, it was literally looked it up. Pepperoni is the number one pizza topping in the land.
Do they count extra cheese as a topping?
Good question.
Because I think it is. I mean, you have to pay more for it.
If you have to pay for it, it's a topping.
So
it's a stretch, but I'll allow it. Extra cheese being a topping. I mean,
if you pay for it, it's a topping.
Correct.
If a medium pie costs $10 just for a number, and I don't think you can get one for that anywhere unless you're going to a chain, but if a medium pie costs $10 and an extra cheese medium pie costs $11, it's an item. It just is.
Now, I think I think Parmesan cheese is more of a topping. For example.
Nah, that's just something sitting at the table.
That's a table.
Sit down, yeah.
Next to the red pepper and the oregano in some places. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's a condiment.
Thank you. It's a condiment. That's exactly what it is.
That's true. That's true.
So I'm just curious if people, that would have been a really good poll question today. You can only have one topping on your pizza. What would it be? Okay. And there are those that insist on nothing. They just want what they will take whatever the store that they go to provides. Okay, whatever that place is, that's how they want it. They don't even want extra cheese. Like, for example, Felipe, my wife's an extra cheese person. I'm a pepperoni person. We end up having to pay for two toppings. I hate the half toppings, by the way. I have to pay as if it's the whole, and I only get it for half. Wife's like, I don't want the pepperoni on my side. Well, get your own damn pizza.
And pick it off and throw it on mine.
Exactly. I don't want the grease that comes with it.
You're having pizza. If you don't want grease, have a salad. What's going on?
I know. I still love her, but sometimes I wonder.
Do we like ranch on pizza?
Oh, no.
I don't even think. First off, you show your age by your love of ranch. Ranch is loved by teenage girls and hockey players, and that's about it. I've seen enough ranch in my life at pregame meals at hockey games that I'll never need to see ranch dressing again.
Wow.
I don't love ranch, but
you talk about it a lot.
If there's a box of pizza and I get a slice, there's that little cup of ranch, I might take a dip or two, a little dab of ranch.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, that's honestly in like 23 states that could get you the death penalty. It really could. I mean, it's all in the Northeast and over to Illinois.
It would get you beat up in New York, wouldn't it? If you're at one of those pizzas, can I get some ranch? How about you get out of my store?
I mean, please. I mean, candidates have lost elections because they started eating pizza with a knife and a fork. I mean, yeah, there's a way to go about this. But seriously, if you can only have one topping, one, by the way, can't do two. One.
It would be pepperoni. No, it'd be sausage.
Okay.
It'd be sausage for me.
Now, in my pizza delivery days, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's still popular, but going back a generation or so, the Hawaiian pizza had a run. Ham and pineapple. I really don't like pineapple, period. I despise it on my pizza. The juice, then I start sounding like my wife with the pepperoni oil. Okay, to get that thing off my pizza, blah, blah, blah. So, and then, won't even get into anchovies. So.
Yeah, I can't do the anchovies, and I'm against Hawaiian pizza, but I've come to the point where I'm not going to sit there and say it should be outlawed. You want to put pineapple on your pizza and ruin a perfectly good pizza, then go ahead and do it.
Absolutely. You're paying for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks. Respect.
Yeah.
No. It's not respect. You've ruined a pizza.
Well, you said it shouldn't be outlawed.
It shouldn't be outlawed, but I wouldn't allow you. If you were in my house and said, get pineapple on it, I'd tell you to leave.
Felipe, in all seriousness.
Pineapple in your presence for like a group thing. But yeah, what's up, David?
Felipe, you know I'm fond of you. Okay. If I was buying the pizza and you wanted pineapple, I wouldn't pay for it.
But that's just the thing.
I would draw the line. You could order, you take out the money. That one's on you. I'll pay for all the rest.
I understand that people don't like pineapple, so I won't order it in the presence of people that don't like pineapple. I'm cool with that. I'm not picky either, also.
Pineapple and ranch. That's what he's mentioned with his pizza.
I know.
If we sent him to New York or Chicago, I don't think he'd survive.
There's not a chance. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when what's on tap, all still next.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
John can't. He would have, but one of his other jobs, they're taping early Wednesday and Thursday next week.
We need to find a Thursday then, Felipe. Our one Thursday is already crapped out.
Okay.
Is there anyone in the building that we can pay?
I can ask around. I'll ask Chris.
Think we get rich for a day?
Probably.
Is it Rich or Rick?
Rick.
Oh. Rick, my bad.
I know who you meant.
Yeah.
Rick Church. Rich.
Bingo. I let the church part of his name influence the Rick part of his name.
Right.
Perfect combo.
So I would have ended up calling him Rich Chirk, and that would not have gone over well.
By the way, you know what's growing on me is any pizza with vegetables on it. Really like that.
We've been big on the pepperoni banana pepper. That's my wife. My wife's actually spinach and banana pepper, but I won't do the spinach. I mean, I will.
I think if you got to choose one topping, though, I mean, sausage is a good one, but pepperonis.
I am enjoying all the responses in the Twitch chat room. We asked, you can only have one topping, and people are going, pepperoni and mushrooms, okay, bacon and whatever. It's like, what part of one?
They've advanced it. I've just got Canada Relief there trying to tell me bacon and pineapples or anything you put. No, it's not.
Okay, and if you want to go with the bacon crumbs over strips, that's fine. That's how you want the texture of your pizza and all that. That's fine.
Now, you really want to ruin a pizza, put pickles on it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that would have been a good question, especially if we put bacon up there. Like if we got pepperoni, extra cheese, sausage, bacon. Hot pepper? Rough tough?
Put some pepper flakes on there.
Or
I texted church.
Thank you.
I have had a deep dish pizza, but it's not even a pizza. It's a pie. It's way more like a pie.
Stomach's growling.
I haven't eaten either. I got a massage coming up here in an hour.
I might have to
take my stomach's gonna be growling, and B, I'm gonna fall asleep on her. I already know it. It's a 90-minute deal, man. I'll be out.
Oh, I couldn't make it 90 minutes awake on a massage. I'd be done.
I try so hard, but
I
no way.
I don't know if obviously because you and I both have the apnea, and I know you're not having a machine, so I don't know if you snore when you're with it.
If I'm on my back, if I'm face down, apparently I'd make little to no noise.
And I've been on my back. I woke myself up with a massage, and I'm like,
I've done
it's just one. It's just one because you're in that really light, heavenly state of unconscious, and
she actually had to wake me up the one time because I was on my back and I was a jackhammer. I mean, I was cutting down trees, and she's like, hey. I'm like, yeah. She goes, you're really loud. I'm like, oh, okay. When you're worried about that you're snoring so loud that the person in the massage down the hall might be influenced. All right, I'm sorry.
I didn't take a nap yesterday, and I had a scary moment where, because I was operating the camera again, the baseline camera for last night's game. I'm leaning my head on the camera, which is on my shoulder, so it's somewhat comfortable. I fell asleep and almost dropped the camera. It was bad.
You might beat Miller and Moulton in the places you can fall asleep.
Oh, yeah, I will.
You're really good at it, Felipe.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pitiful for someone your age, because that never.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Really nice little show lined up for you tomorrow. Lee Sterling with some prop bets that you should seriously consider for Super Bowl 57. He'll also make his pick on the game. At least I think he will. And John Perry, part of Monday Night Football. He's ABC, ESPN's official in the booth, who refereed a couple Super Bowls. In fact, I think the last game he ever worked was a Super Bowl. John Perry will join us on the show tomorrow, and Pat Kerwin will join us in the bonus hour tomorrow, live from Phoenix. We'll get his thoughts on everybody he talked to and how he sees the game going and all that.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
David, I don't have a lot today. But I start in 1825 when the House of Representatives elects John Quincy Adams as our 6th president.
Could you just imagine if that ever happened today? Because that happened, we actually had that happen a couple times where it was in dispute and what have you, and they went to the house. Could you imagine?
No.
Today, with how divided we are and all that, if 269 and they had to go to the house.
Especially with some of the people that are in there. 1909, the first U.S. federal legislation on narcotics prohibits the importation, possession, or use of smoking opium. Today in 42, two things happened. One, the Philadelphia Phillies changed their nickname to the Phils, very temporarily. I never had seen that before.
So they stopped being the Phillies?
And they became the Phils. They went back to the Phillies pretty quickly. Obviously didn't work out that well. And daylight savings time began in the States today in 1942 for the war. And then would stay, and then various different versions and back and forth until we had some national legislation on, and maybe someday it'll be year-round. 1961, the Beatles play their first gig at Liverpool's Cavern Club. They would play there 300 times over the next 2 years. Today in 64, the Beatles made their first live appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show. The broadcast draws 73.7 million television viewers.
Yeah, that's better than the AFC-NFC championship game. Just so you know, the only thing that beats that are Super Bowls.
Right, but this is in 64.
I understand that.
Our population was a little less then.
A few less networks. That is true. No streaming. Right.
I don't know what time it appeared on Paramount Plus.
The next day, Mark. The next day they streamed it. Just go back 1 second. Imagine living in that neighborhood in the early 60s in which the club band, we all have a club band, whether you're in college or the neighborhood you grow up in or what have you, that you go to the club and you end up seeing 30, 40 times while you're there, because that's where you go hang on a Friday or Saturday. And your club band was the Beatles.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Man.
The G.I. Joe character was created today also in 1964. Today in 85, Madonna's Like a Virgin goes number one.
Well, yes.
Today in 95, Riverdance first opens, the Irish musical that kind of took the world by storm for a short period of time.
Did it ever?
In 97, The Simpsons airs its 167th episode, becoming the longest running animated series in cartoon history. That was in 1997.
Had a good run.
In 2006, Al Michaels joined Sunday Night Football broadcast with John Madden.
That's when he got traded for the cartoon.
Yeah. The Disney cartoon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the 23rd Winter Games opened in South Korea today in 2018. Those born today that are no longer with us: William Henry Harrison, he was our 9th president. Bill Veeck of White Sox ownership fame. Ernest Tubb of the record store. Stompin' Tom Connors, he wrote the hockey song. You've heard it 5 million times at hockey games. And Roger Mudd. Those celebrating birthdays today: Carole King, Joe Pesci, Mia Farrow, Danny White, at least part-time, I think full-time Naples resident, John Kruk, Travis Tritt, Jim Miller, Pat Kerwin's broadcast partner. Might need to send Pat a text today to remind him to say happy birthday to his broadcast partner. Vlad Guerrero and Michael B. Jordan. What did I miss, David?
Well, believe it or not, it was on this day in 1960, the very first Hollywood Walk of Fame star was awarded. Care to guess, 1960, movie star, who got the first star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
Fred Astaire.
Joanne Woodward. Today was a big day, certainly for you, being a big fan of him. But today was the day that Magic played in the 92 All-Star game, having retired 3 months earlier, HIV positive, and ended up being MVP, hit that final shot. And
I have boycotted on this segment the All-Star game since they're not relevant now. I don't talk about when they were actually relevant then, but you're right. That's a lot of All-Star games this week that have been going on.
And then because of that, it led to, hey, maybe he can play on the Dream Team. And it's funny. The league was still keeping him at more than arm's length, and the players were not publicly because they'd get crushed, but privately they were like, we don't want him. I do not want to play with him. Okay, but that All-Star game appearance, for whatever reason, everybody was okay with him playing in that. And then, obviously, a few months later, he was the point guard on the Dream Team.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Lehigh Acres for the good today. You've all seen these, the tiny homes, the small 500 to 700 square foot homes. Well, they've now are going to start building them in Lehigh, and apparently they can hurt, even though the walls are assembled by a giant 3D printer, they can sustain hurricane force winds. So tiny homes coming to Lehigh Acres. I can see Philly in a tiny home.
Just by myself.
Well, yeah.
Well, how tiny is it? Like, does
500 to 700 square feet.
I'd like a balcony. With all due respect.
Okay, I'll do it if you could just throw in a balcony.
What, I got to put it on stilts now for you? The whole idea is, for the bad, we go to the not-so-friendly skies, where a pilot was giving a refresher course to a pilot who wanted to practice some touch-and-goes. And after they got done, they were pushing the plane back to its spot to park, where the pilot then came in to apparently pull the parking brake. What he pulled was the detachment to send out the parachute. Heard a loud bang, and the parachute system had deployed on the plane, creating quite a mess at the airport. Finally, the ugly. We go to Flagler County in Florida, where an alarm at a gas station went off Sunday morning. Police found the door of the business unlocked. After searching the gas station, they found out that some items had been stolen, including dog food and cigarettes. But it wasn't too hard to find out who did it, because Lance Kurtz left his debit card on the counter. See, when you rob a place, what you don't want to leave behind is your ID. He did. Made the arrest very easy. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, February the 9th, 2023.
The FGCU men need to win tonight. They've lost 5 in a row and 7 of 8. They are currently in 11th place in the 14-team A-Sun.
That doesn't make the playoff, right?
It does not, Mark. Only 10 of the 14 teams make the playoff.
They won 20 games last year, didn't they?
Actually, 22.
Oh, I'm sorry, 22.
They were cruising along at 13-4. And then the last 3 weeks happened. They got 6 games left. 3-game roadie in state, and then a 3-game homestand. So they start the whole North Florida, Jacksonville, Stetson road run over the next week tonight at North Florida. A team a couple games ahead of them in the standings, but a team that's only lost 1 home game this year. And they just swept their arch rivals crosstown Jacksonville in a home-and-home.
It's a virtual pick'em. North Florida favored by 0.5 point is what I have here.
And I've seen 1.5 points. Now, listen, based on recent trends here, you'd have to bet North Florida and lay the 1.5 if you want to bet this game. But this is a big game because if they can just get one, I mean, if they can beat North Florida at home, well, then they can beat Jacksonville on Saturday, and then you could see where they could turn the sucker around. But, you lose 5 in a row, 7 of 8. I mean, at some point, if you don't turn it around, the season just goes in the tank. And, I mean, Mark, out of their final 6, I'm trying to figure out, I don't know if a 2-4 finish gets them in the ASUN tournament. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, at some point, they may just have to split their final 6 just to be able to play in the damn conference tournament. So big game tonight for the Eagles at North Florida.
The big game tonight probably is in the Big Ten. Number 1, Purdue hosting Iowa. Probably the college basketball game of the night. I know Iowa's not ranked, but they're a pretty good team.
Well, and I'll say this for Iowa. They beat Illinois at home a few days ago. This is a stretch mark for the Hawkeyes where they play 4 out of 5 in the Big Ten on the road. And if this road trip goes the way some road trips go, they become bubblicious in a hurry.
Both the Lightning and Panthers in action tonight. The Panthers hosting the Sharks. And the Lightning this might be the game of the night period in sports. Avs at the Lightning. Stanley Cup rematch.
ESPN, by the way, if you care to watch. TNT doubleheader. You mentioned, Mark, all the Brooklyn Nets games that are scheduled to be televised. Yep. Chicago at Brooklyn tonight. First half of the TNT double dip. Now, Milwaukee Lakers is the back end, but LeBron's already set the record. So, whatever. And Phoenix is at Atlanta, but Durant's not healthy enough to play. Magic are hosting the Nuggets, Felipe, if you want to make the drive and see your buddy, Jokic, who you rave about every night.
I mean, could be a 3-time MVP.
On pace to be. Who else is going to get it?
Either Giannis or Joel. It's a 3-man race at this point. Or Tatum, but I don't think so.
So there you go. I'm debating whether I'm going to the FGCU game tonight.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes away. It's on the other side of town, across the highway. But I may go.
You gonna wear your North Florida shirt since
I don't have any.
Oh,
I don't have any. My wife does. You would think with all the money I gave the university for my daughter's undergrad, I'd have some, but I don't.
I was going to say, I joke around when I wear my East Carolina stuff. It's a $40,000 golf shirt for crying out loud.
I don't have one of them.
That's not even fair. How did that happen?
I just
Did you refuse because of your love of FGCU?
No. I actually, like their gear. I will say North Florida was the first place in the ASUN that sold beer at games. And that goes back like 15 years. I remember doing the game, getting up at halftime one time, threw it back to the station, and I forget whoever filled in a few minutes. I went for a walk, and I looked, and I went, holy blank, they're selling beer.
Did you come close to buying one for the second
half? Damn right. FGCU was getting whacked. I'm 5 hours from home. Darn right.
When I broadcasted Everblades games, when we were on the road in South Carolina, the usher knew, or the beer man knew to come see me right at the start of the third when they were done selling beer. I said, just make it up here. Make me your last stop. Trust me, I'll take care of you. But I need a tall boy for the third.
The problem at North Florida, the radio broadcast booth is all the way at the top of the arena. It's literally like Cameron when they jam the network TV people all the way in the, and so you're pretty far away, and I couldn't get it delivered. That's the key with hockey. You can get between second and third period. That's perfect. Halftime, there's still a little too much game left to start drinking.
Always like to get that one in me on a go night on the road.
Now, women's hoops has switched to the 4 10-minute quarters. And in between the third and fourth quarter, that'd be a good time to get one.
Darn right it would. Darn right. These are old You can't do that in today's broadcast world. My goodness.
Oh, no.
What, drink a beer?
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody take a picture of you lose your gig. I mean, you end up standing before the athletic director going, hey, I was just trying to snap the losing streak, anything to snap a streak. No? All right. Miller and Moulton. See you tomorrow.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts.